Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes. Oh. So today is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sounds like we've got kind of a serious lag for YouTube here.
Oh, that's interesting. My image is not showing up on the stream.
Yeah, I see that. Why don't you step out of the room and come back in and see if that resets it?
Let's see here. See if maybe changing the avatar around works.
Oh, yeah. Yep, now I see a little birdie. Nope. And now it's a blank circle again.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't like my usual avatar for some reason.
That is strange.
Showing up in StreamYards in here.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh well, I'll stick with the bird.
Well, let's see who all we've got in the side chat here. I see Skits Crasher and Mark Caesar, Sinister Porpoise, Commander 401, Greg Hartwick, Ox, Jinzu, and Marie, Infectionalist Network, and Slim. Hey. And here's the porpoise. Hello.
Hey.
First off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on. There we go. I really need to get some more sound absorbing stuff in here because that's really echoey.
With all the junk I've got around me, I don't really need to put any sound absorption stuff around here.
Well, maybe some curtains and some more furniture with cloth. Because that's usually what causes most of the sound absorption.
Yeah.
Well, also made if you were just on the headset instead of having a microphone on the desk, it's less likely to echo.
That's true.
I do have a microphone. And a headset. Oh, you mean, okay.
Yes, it's about double that, really. Actually, exactly double that.
Well, you're 29 times. So.
Yeah, the 29th anniversary of my 29th birthday, right? That makes it like a golden birthday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But your age in hexadecimal is 3A.
Okay.
I was hoping it came out with some nice number,
But that's an evil number?
No, it's just not something I can say you're 30-something. It's because it's 10 more than 48, which would be 30 in hexadecimal.
Yep.
I haven't messed with hexadecimal in a long time.
So what are your plans for your birthday other than having this stream?
Well, not a whole lot since we are still without a functioning vehicle. Sloth Girl normally would have taken me out for dinner, but I guess we'll probably just have to order something in.
I'm guessing not a lot of public transportation in Upper Michigan.
No, we're in Minnesota now. And actually, there's a pretty good bus service here. But Sloth Girl can't take being out in the heat. It can trigger MS flare-ups.
Sounds like a good pizza day.
Yeah, the idea of her, waiting out in this heat for half an hour for a bus would not be a very good idea. That's only 3 in Canadian.
I didn't.
Well, it's only 1 in chicken math, so.
I had pizza yesterday, so.
Yeah, actually, last night I had leftover pizza from a few days ago. So, although with DoorDash these days, you can get most any restaurant. So,
yeah. In the mood for anything?
Yeah. See, I usually don't think of food much, which is why I have to have Sloth Girl around. She makes sure I don't go consecutive days without eating.
Yeah, I just had some peanut butter on toast with honey.
Yeah, we've been hovering around, mid to upper 80s here, about 30 degrees centigrade.
All right, at 35 communist is what freedom? What in freedom degrees?
Oh, I think that's over 100.
I really have to stop calling them communist degrees.
I'm thinking it's like 104 or something like that.
35 is 95 Fahrenheit, so.
Oh, okay. I always have a bit problem with the temperature conversions.
So, Athena, whose birthday comes up on August 20th, is getting mad that I am giving her adult cat food, mixing in with her kitten chow. So she's decided to just go directly to the kitten chow bag and eat from that.
Yeah, it's surprising how good they can be about picking the things apart like that.
Eventually she's going to run out of kitten food and is going to be replaced with adult cat food. But
you want to see a real fight? They tried switching a bird's diet.
It's not that she's eaten the adult cat food before. She's just.
Yeah, well, cats are known to be finicky. Although, in my long experience of always having cats in the house, what I have discovered is that finicky eaters go hungry. Eventually, they'll get hungry enough to eat what you put there.
That usually works with most animals.
All right, we really don't have to call Fahrenheit degrees freedom units. The whole point is to make fun of certain types of Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I have Kitty against my leg. He's been rather busy lately. Somehow we got a fly in here.
Interestingly enough, for parrot, its seeds aren't actually the main diet. You want to give them vegetables.
Is it a parrot? I thought it was some type of cockatiel there.
Yeah, cockatiel is a parrot.
Oh, okay.
That was my pet parrot, named Nalo. She died a little over a year ago. Real sad. That's her baby picture when I first got her.
And what's the lifespan of cockatiels, though?
They tend to average about between 16 and 18 years. Some can live into their 20s.
Yeah.
She was 16 when she died.
Amazing personalities they have.
Oh yeah, you'll probably never meet two parrots with the same personality.
I've never met any pet that had the exactly same personality as another pet.
Yeah.
It's even more so with parrots.
Well, people generalize about cats, but they're not, I mean, actually, Sammy and Petunia are great examples of that. They're virtually nothing alike.
There will never be another Corky. Every other cat I have had bites.
Well, Petunia was a biter when we got her from the shelter. And actually, it wasn't until after we moved here to Minnesota. So 3-4 years that she was still biting anytime anybody tried to pet her. But since we moved, she's really calmed down.
Athena bites, but only playfully. I mean, she's not trying to hurt. She's just like, okay, I've got your...
Yeah, well, yeah, Petunia'll still do it playing now. If I try to rub her belly and get her wound up.
Well, my current bird here, Duncan, he has a tendency to sometimes bite. Especially when he used to go through his hormonal phase. Since this one passed away, he's actually calmed down quite a bit.
Is he Duncan McBird of the Clan McBird?
No, he was actually named in the pet store because he had a tendency to dunk everything he got into his water bowl. And I was trying to think of a name for him. Since he already pretty much recognized that as his name, I went with it.
Well, Sammy's son was actually Samson when I found him at the shelter. But I didn't care for that, so I wanted to change it, but I wanted to keep it to close enough so it was something they might recognize.
You're muted.
Athena didn't have a name when I got her, and I was trying to think of a name that suggested playfulness and couldn't come up with anything.
I had a cat and a dog at the same time. The dog was a teacup Yorkie. Well, actually, the cat had 2 dogs. The cat ran the life of a 40-pound Boston Bull Terrier. And then we had to get rid of the Boston Bull Terrier, but we inherited a teacup Yorkie from an annoying relative who, that was the only good thing that came. And the Yorkie wound up running the life of a 20-pound cat. So go figure.
Yeah, when I was growing up, we had this cat we named Butterscotch. It was just a really big husky brute. And really like the Heathcliff cartoons that he terrorized the whole neighborhood. I mean, that even the big dogs didn't want to mess with him. The German Shepherd a couple houses down tangled with him one time and lost an ear.
It's kind of like my first cat. She basically ruled the entire area around my house. Oh, and yesterday when I was out watering my garden, I had a little wild rabbit come up to me. Got less than 3 feet away from me.
Yeah, well, they've been causing problems for your garden there, haven't they?
They can. They're not too bad. I don't mind having them around.
I haven't seen the raccoon I saw outside of my house a couple nights ago.
The biggest problem I tend to have are the squirrels.
It was a good picture, though. Can't even believe the raccoon let me get that close. As opposed to the squirrels in the local university, where if you have food, they'll come right up to you. Because they have absolutely no fear of people.
Well, no, not if they're used to people giving them food. I am not a fan of raccoons at all.
They're cute, but they carry rabies and they just throw all your garbage out onto the street.
Well, also, most people don't realize that if you see one raccoon alone, they're foraging. And when they start making the chattering sound, they're alerting the others to what they found because they really hunt in packs. So a group of about 5 of them surrounded one of my cats and took him down.
I got a pair
That
running around in my
sucks.
neighborhood.
Well, I don't really let Athena out, so.
Yeah, well, that was the last outside cat I had.
I mean, she'd like to go out, and it's not because of the raccoons, it's because there's a wetlands over across the river on the other side, and I know there are birds of prey there.
Yep.
And I've even gotten a picture of a bald eagle roosting on a nest there.
Yeah, I've had problems with the raccoons eating some of my crops. Like with the Seminole pumpkins I grew. Every time the pumpkins started to form, they'd come and eat it. So I couldn't even get it to fully mature.
I mean, raccoons have been getting more into cities, but I'm not really sure what the raccoon was doing. It was just climbing up a tree, so.
Oh, raccoons are very well adapted to urban environments. And people don't see them because they're mostly active at night, but they're pretty much in every city, every neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, it was like right before. It was as the sun was setting, so yeah, it wasn't night, but. Hey, it was just a relatively good picture, but I'm also not really far. There's like a wooded area right by the river. So it could either be from the city or it could just be maybe it was coming in. I mean, this is a building complex. I think there would be a lot of things raccoons would like here, so.
Yeah, they always find places.
I mean, I don't do a lot of walking at night after transition anymore, after having a few disturbing run-ins, but when I first moved here, I did see like raccoons coming out of the stores and store crates.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm aware of them, because I did tend to go walking around in the wee hours of the morning a lot.
Yeah, I used
to.
to.
Of course, they check out all the dumpsters.
Yeah, I used to take a lot of walks at night.
Yeah, some really creepy people ruined that for me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It happens.
Honestly, it's the cops that tend to worry about more when I'm taking my walks at night than I am about any of the people.
Yeah, that's an issue too.
Creepy person I can fight. Cop, I can't.
I personally have never had a bad experience with a police officer personally in my life.
You're lucky.
I've had mixed experiences with them.
Most of my experiences have been okay, but it's been a bit mixed.
I mean, I had one police officer try to settle a personal dispute by using his badge.
It's like I think of the Chris Rock joke, most of our guys who fly airplanes are good. Some of them just like to fly into cliffs.
At the trucking school, I did have someone explain how one of the I forget what they're called. They're like the federal dot police. The guy tried to extort money out of him, and when he didn't give him money, he wound up banging down his door and threatening to kill him. This was before 2020, and he had been recording it, and then 3 months later, when he went to that same stop, the former cop was picking up garbage.
Okay, well, nice to see that somebody was actually responding when they got that kind of report. Too often they do try to cover those things up.
Yeah.
Well, usually if something like that happens, they've gotten more than one report.
Oh
Police
yeah,
officers-
I'm sure.
It's like when Twitter accounts get banned, it's not because one person reported them usually. Like when not the BA got banned off of Twitter because they were just making stupid trans jokes. It wasn't just one person that reported that account. Tons of people reported that account, which is why it quickly got banned.
That's MTG's trailer. The Penguins are going to be raiding it.
What did Magic the Gathering do?
The Penguins were playing Magic the Gathering? I don't know.
Magic the Gathering is actually a Turing machine, a card game that functions like a Turing machine.
I think you mean it's Turing complete.
That's what I meant.
A Turing machine is a hypothetical construct, that's why.
What exactly is a Turing machine?
A Turing machine is essentially a machine with an infinite amount of tape that you can run computational problems on. Or in the modern parlance, infinite memory. Because it has to have infinite memory, it's hypothetical and does not actually exist. If something is Turing complete, you get the same result running a problem through them that you would get on a Turing machine.
Turing, he helped invent the supercomputer that cracked the Enigma code, and then the British government was a douchebag to him, and he committed suicide.
I don't know if I'd call it a supercomputer, but it was one of the first wasn't fully electronic, but electromechanical computers. And it wasn't the only one at the time because the US had the ENIAC.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was
what happened
the Bletchley Park one.
But yeah, he was convicted under anti-sodomy laws in Britain.
Yeah, I was
suicide.
Was aware of his history as far as the code breaking goes, and of course the Turing test, which I want to see. I want to see a variant done on the Turing test that they have, one group of AIs and one group of regular people and one group of autistic people. Because I've got a feeling that most normal people would not be able to tell autistics from AIs.
I would check to see if that's already been done. I'm sure someone thought of that. You'll probably I'll have to see if I can find it on the university's databases later because Google Scholar is kind of limited.
Well, my quick search here is only turning up artificial intelligence to diagnose and treat autism.
I mean, it's possible it's something no one thought of.
Yeah, I haven't seen it mentioned in anything I've read, but I can't say that's an area that I've read a lot on.
And it's not something you're going to find in most science publications either. Or even tech magazines. Because right now everyone's focused on Lambda and the what was the name of that thing? It's a GPT-3 algorithm that wrote a paper about itself. and got
Yep.
published.
Hey, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny had mentioned that she's got a doctor's appointment today, so she will probably not be in until we're an hour or so in here.
Well,
Oh,
I
good.
got one at 2:00 that I have to do a telehealth, so I'm out at like 1:15.
Actually, I think I have a dentist appointment this Thursday.
Well, that's why I'm doing this today instead of tomorrow. Is that tomorrow I've actually got 3 appointments lined up because it was the only day all the doctors are in the clinic on the same day.
So many doctor's appointments.
So I'll trade one of the doctor's appointments if one of you takes my statistics final.
Yeah, well, just again, seeing as I'll be taking the bus there and back, I just wanted to try and get everything done on one day and reduce the travel time involved.
I haven't taken a college class since the spring of 2020.
Yeah, I'm going back to get my bachelor's. So. And I thought I would just finish statistics over the summer just to get it out of the way, because one of the too many math courses I have to take.
I'd never take a math class during the summer. You have half the time and the same amount of material.
But you don't have other competing classes demanding your time. That was the thought. Plus, statistics has not really been as demanding as my other math classes have been.
Yeah,
There's a
my
lot
dad
of-
was. Oh, go ahead.
It's just easier because a lot of the questions aren't the math. They're about, it's like, what does this concept mean?
Yeah, my dad was pretty big on math. I think during the university, he was sitting there with some of his friends and talking about what would it would take to take the math teacher's car and blow it straight up into the air and cause it to flip one time and land straight back down into the parking spot. And he was actually sitting there working out the math with his friends, and the math teacher was right behind him.
Yeah, the one thing if I ever got the time to it, I'd want to take a bit more math to get better at probability,
There are-
better at estimating odds of the dice and such things.
Yeah, there are certain computer science professors there. I would have loved to have done that too.
The worst kind of professor in the world is the one that expects you to be as fast as he is, and he writes on the board, everything, and erases with one hand and writes with the other.
And doesn't let you record anything.
Exactly. I had one of those in the spring of 2020, and that's why I had to find something else to do. Even though I have a GPA of 3.25, it, your credits attempted versus credits achieved thing.
Well, I really object to the university accounting. The course I had to withdraw from is a repeated course because I want to point out, it's like, you just had a really bad professor. This shouldn't count against me.
Mm-hmm. I've always kind of wondered about that. That there's got to be something that these schools eventually recognize that, it's just like one class that a whole bunch of people wind up failing when they never fail anything else. At some point, they've got to take in that's got the professor to do it.
This guy
This
retired
was DE.
at the end of the semester because he'd been there since my former roommate, did college when she was supposed to back in the 90s. She had this guy at the same university, which means he's been there for a while. And she keeps asking me, it's like, hey, do you know this person from this department? I'm like, you do realize most of the people that were there when you went retired, right?
That was the curse of being the youngest in my family. Until I moved in the middle of high school, I virtually never had a teacher that had not had at least 3 of my siblings. So basically, yeah, I always got judged on the first day before they even found out who I was.
Well, that could be good or bad. But the fact is, siblings are different too. It's like my brother and I are not all that similar.
Another Weasley. I know what to do with you.
Exactly. And yeah, as far as siblings aren't always the same, my eldest brother is an evangelical. On his birthday wish list, he had listed DVDs of Ray Comfort.
My brother was in Washington on January 6th.
Oh, fun. Have they located him yet?
Oh, he wasn't in the.
Yeah,
was
just
not
went
in
to
the
the
Capitol.
general rally, didn't go to the Capitol.
I'll be right back. I forgot to get myself some water.
But he did post video of people going into the Capitol on his Facebook account, which I'm sure.
Hey, Granny. How you
Hello,
doing?
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Mark Caesar's comment reminds me of something that happened to Robin once. When Robin was in high school, Robin loved to wear a cape all the time. And Robin had a red cape that he wore almost every day. He went on a band trip and they ate at a food court. No, I take it back. They were eating at a Chick-fil-A because they didn't get a choice on where they ate. They had to eat at Chick-fil-A. And so Robin and another friend who is also trans, they stuck together all the time and they were kind of misfits at school. But one of the Chick-fil-A employees came over and was harassing Robin and asking, "Where's Satan? Can you tell me where Satan is? I need to find Satan. Where's Satan?" And it was just really weird because Robin was a minor and unaccompanied, and yeah, it's just weird.
Wait, why would any?
strange people.
I would.
Because he was wearing a red cape.
Oh. I don't. That could be an
I
autistic
forget
thing, I
the
don't know.
address of Trump Tower, but if I could remember it, that would be my response. Trump's address. That's where you could find Satan. The word, in fact, the word in Hebrew, right, for the little horn in the book of Daniel is Karen, the word we get carotene from. So the character in the Christian eschatology that is known as the Antichrist is called Karen by the prophet Daniel. It's an unholy horn, a trumpet, if you will. So that's where you can find Satan. I am a Jew. I don't believe in Christianity, but I do know this stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a lot of what screwed up my upbringing was I was born in the Catholic Church, but the community we lived in was like 85% Jewish. So most of the people I discussed the Bible with had read it in Hebrew. And we're all too happy to point out all the translation errors.
And a lot of the translations are based on context. You know, how you interpret a word will be based upon the context, but also your worldview. Take like Daniel chapter 8. Va'adi sar hitzav hagadil. If you're a Jew, you're just going to translate it, and he raised himself up against the commander of the army or the prince of the army or whatever. But if you're a Christian, you're going to say, oh, he raised himself up. Sar is the word we get sergeant from. Hitzav is like a play on, that's where you send the gold, the army. But Hagadil would be similar to Haggadah, would be the Most High. And in fact, the NIV translates it, and he raised himself up to be as the commander-in-chief of the army of the Lord. Versus the Jewish translations, we raised himself up against the Prince of Hosts.
Listen,
Exactly.
I'm just happy with 4 years of Latin. I never learned to speak a word of it and can occasionally catch a word on a menu that might save me from eating something disgusting.
Squingially.
Like, this Italian word looks an awful lot like the word for eel.
Yeah, about my only exposure to Latin is just, through zoology and categorizing animals.
Actually, it was useful for learning Romance languages too, because you have the basis for it. But
Most of my Latin is legal terms.
I like to play around with a little bit of Latin for coming up with fictional magic spells.
yeah, that Mark, that really shouldn't be against Cooper's terms of service, but
I had a believer in my Uber trying to proselytize me.
oh,
I dared her to read the Bible from go to woe and list all the bad things Satan did and God did. Earned me a 1-star rating, but was worth it. Yeah, I've still been challenging Christians, and no one has taken me up on this yet. But they call Satan the Great Deceiver, and show me one passage in the Bible where Satan actually lied. There are several places where God lied.
Mm-hmm.
actually, I misread that. I think what you should do is have like the list of passages people are afraid to read in church. Like, I think a good one the next time someone challenges you right now is Numbers chapter 5, verse 20.
Yeah, which one's that?
Let me look
I
it up
read
and make
through
sure
the
I've got the
Bible,
right
but I
one.
certainly don't remember the chapter and verse for anything.
I don't care. I'm an ex-Mormon. I had a bunch of other books to remember too.
Yeah. I read through it when I was a teenager, and that's why I'm not Christian anymore.
Numbers chapter 5, verses 11 through 28. Especially if you know they're pro-life.
Is that where if someone hits a woman in the belly that she dies, the baby is treated more or less as property rather than like a murder?
I think it's more likely the one where the woman is accused of adultery, and
Yeah.
the remedy, the test to find out whether she's committed adultery is essentially to induce an abortion.
Yep.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful for the
Yeah,
argument.
that God not only supports abortions, he actually gives instructions on how to perform one.
Sure.
Actually, culturally, because it was the Bronze Age and everything was barbaric, a father could disown or even have a child just born murdered if they wanted to. A child is born, they could just
Yep.
reject the child or sell the child, and it was commonplace.
Yeah, and Greg, Satan actually in the Garden of Eden, the snake told the story, told the truth about the apple. Again, God told them that they would die if they ate it. The Satan told them that they would gain wisdom. But actually, the snake was not Satan. That was a retcon much later.
Mm.
The whole snake being the devil comes from Revelation, which doesn't really make sense because it contradicts itself in the next passage anyway.
Seraphim, and that meant just angel, and it had. Well, seraphim is angels plural.
Yeah, I saw Jeff mention this elsewhere. I thought this is going to be a good video.
Yeah, I saw and mentioned that on Twitter. That should be fun. Again, I don't remember that much of it. It's been a long time since I read the Bible.
Oh, I
so-
remember that story. It's during the Exodus. The people are wandering through the desert and they complain to God because they don't have any meat to eat. All they have is manna. So God sends this huge flock of quail to fly overhead, and they eat the quail, and they eat until they're absolutely stuffed with quail.
And then they die.
Mhm.
Yeah, it took me a few tries to actually read through the Bible. After I did, I didn't even retain half of it.
But there's so much of the Bible you can just skip through because it doesn't matter.
Probably the reason why I didn't retain most of it.
And then I recall
When I
reading.
finish,
I recall once reading through, I think it's Numbers, which is a boring, boring book. And all at the end, it gets to the story about a talking donkey. And you just have the feeling it's like, the writers inserted this story in just because they were bored and wanted to see if people were paying attention. I mean, that's the only way the story of Balaam and the donkey makes sense.
Well, for me, the hardest part of that story, and even as a believer, it made no sense to me, was that Balaam did exactly what God asked him to, and God punished him for it.
Yeah, but it's in the long list of Jewish laws and is really out of place otherwise. I think someone was just trying. I think my personal theory or hypothesis is the writer got bored and just inserted a stupid story in.
Mm-hmm. I've had a number of Bible literalists that support that story by claiming that, well, yeah, he did what God said, but he had bad motives. What difference does it make?
Or
Because
maybe,
it's your intentions. That's what some of the sects say. Your intentions are how they'll judge you.
or maybe I just think that because that's what I would do if copying all those laws down. I would just get bored and insert something like that in.
And aliens
it's
came here and
entertaining.
abducted me.
And then right after that, people come in and try to seduce everyone, and then someone tries to seduce Moses, and then some guy basically grabs the woman and tries to have sex with her right on the right in front of everyone, and then I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Pinchas goes and bludgeons him, and then Pinchas becomes a Kohanim. And it just seems like, yeah, they got bored.
I mean, my favorite holy story is there's one where this really smart lunar cat on a spaceship that lands on this asteroid and no one listens to her and they all end up dead except the woman and her cat.
Yeah. Yeah, the story of Job is one that always bothered
Job.
me.
Job.
But they think it's a great story that all came out so well for him in the end. But they never think about his wife or his kids. They got royally screwed and they never did anything wrong.
Well, it's a well-written story, but that doesn't mean what the events aren't horrible. I think people have a hard time separating those two things.
His wife didn't die. And okay, and I want to respond to Cake, to Stool. The cake is a lie.
Yes. Yes, we should all know that by now.
Mm-hmm.
And the pie is very suspicious as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the potatoes are real.
And the cookies.
I don't remember cookies. Potatoes were in that series. I don't remember any cookies.
Yeah, but
I
have
didn't know there was.
raisins.
I was thinking more in terms of computer cookies. Computer cookies are real.
Well, the pie's a lie because it says pi r squared and pi r round.
Listen, eating a cake may be a sin, but when it comes to pie, eating pie is never a sin because the sign of pi is always 0.
Okay. That works.
I'm gonna go be right back after my doctor's appointment.
Okay, it was
Okay.
good meeting you.
Hey,
Auf Wiedersehen. Should probably learn the Pennsylvania Dutch word for that. Maybe it's still Auf Wiedersehen because it's German based.
I don't know. The extent of my foreign language skills is I can say I don't understand you in 7 languages. And then in every case, I'm sure I butcher the grammar well enough to drive the point home.
Meine Katze.
The one time that I was pretty proud of being able to speak a little bit of a number of languages, I was watching a movie, and it was some kind of thriller where the spy goes to Russia, and he's eating with a Russian family, and he says, "Thank you," which I understood quite well, knowing a little bit of Russian. But they translated when he would speak Russian, or the other family would speak Russian with subtitles, and they translated it, "This is good." And I burst out laughing because that's not what he said at all. And everyone else in the theater's looking at me, "Why are you laughing?"
they do that a lot with translations, with subtitles, more than
Mhm.
you might realize.
I can't follow subtitles. With my dyslexia, I can either read the subtitles or watch the movie. I can't be doing both.
Yeah, I have a problem with that as well.
I now watch, I don't do it at the theater, but at home, I watch most movies and a number of TV shows with subtitles just because my hearing is starting to go, and it's just easier to, if I didn't hear it, be able to see it instead of asking other people around, "What did he say? What did he say?" all the time.
Also, it depends on how they do the subtitles. Sometimes they do have the subtitles stay on the screen long enough for me to read. But if it's like a really action-packed show, it's like really difficult to follow the action and the subtitles at the same time.
Yeah.
My main problem with subtitles, and I personally don't like having them on, is even though sometimes it's just nice to catch them if you miss a word or it wasn't pronounced very well, is that they're often behind where the actual dialogue is.
Yeah. There's often a lag there. With some of the YouTube things, I have to put the subtitles on just because, certain people, I find the accents too hard to deal with.
There are certain people whose voice I can't stand listening to, or there's one person who just has a certain laugh that irritates me, or I may mute and put closed caption on.
Well, one of the most hilarious things on YouTube is if you catch a show with Taddy Boggle, put the subtitles on and just watch what the subtitles try to make of anything he says.
I've seen in YouTube butcher subtitles before.
I
Well,
have
Taddy
too.
has such a thick Scottish accent that the automatic subtitles just can't figure out any of it.
That's because it's automatic subtitles. It's the same thing with text-to-speech, where it comes up with some of the bizarre things. Like, I tend to use it on Twitter, and a lot of times I just miss, but it changed something I said into something completely unrelated. It's really bad with names. Like, I was trying to talk to someone about Uvalde, and someone entirely missed it was someone who was trying to say, it's like, "Oh yeah, here's a good person with a gun in Indiana who shot this person." I'm like, there were 200 good people with guns in Uvalde.
Wasn't it like 400?
I don't know what it's up to now. But it's a whole, like, trying to explain, it's like, this one case is an outlier. It's not that common.
Yeah. Yeah, considering how often we have shootings and how seldom that comes up, it's just not a viable argument.
Unless it starts to happen more frequently.
Yeah, well,
I'm rocking just for Doorknobhead. My chair is getting a bit squeaky. I need to get out some WD-40.
And remember, this is a good time of year to buy notebooks and any office supplies.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah. My late fiance used to just, love when this started that going back to school was always her favorite thing. So just even as an adult, getting fresh school supplies.
I always love taking my kids back to school shopping. 2 times a year, I buy them, lots of new clothes. It was back to school time and at Christmas, and I used to love taking them shopping at that time.
I had to do some back to school shopping this year. And I had to get dry erase markers, so.
Never liked school.
No, I was never a fan of it either.
I loved school.
But,
School was an escape from home.
well, that's what the library was for.
Ah,
But
As
see,
it-
school, I had to deal with, other students bullying me and teachers who couldn't figure me out. So that really wasn't any improvement over being home. But in retrospect, I realized that a lot of that is because that neither my Tourette's nor my autism got diagnosed until much later in life.
Yeah, I had to get up early to go to a place where I'm probably going to get bullied, and I'm not really learning much of anything, actually, so...
Yeah, but I had 2 reasons I needed to go back. One was because I needed notebooks for the upcoming classes. And 2 was job related.
Yeah, most of I know is actually all self-taught, or I learned from my dad.
And someone on Twitter wants me to argue about why VS Code is not as good as Atom, Notepad++, Nano, or almost any text editor. It's like, this is not important. And even only the most obscure and only the most picky of programmers really care that much about text editors. So.
Hey, at least you got a text editor.
And I can exit VI.
Yeah, when I was going to the Technical Institute in 82, 83, that was the big deal. We were the first class that actually got to use the new text editors. They were just setting them up when I started, so we did our first 2 units on punch cards.
Oh. I should have had text editors by then. V's been around since the 70s, I think. Look that one up.
Yeah, well, we were the first ones to get to use the these all-in-one, desktop terminals that had the screen and everything built into one unit, and we got to store our programs on the 8-inch floppy disk.
Oh, all right. That's not too far off. Apparently, V was created in 1976.
I remember registering for college classes, and they had punch cards, and there was one card for each seat in each class, and you had to run from station to station and pick up a punch card for each class you wanted. And then once you had all your punch cards, then you went to the checkout register, and then that would register you for each of the classes that you had punch cards for.
As a computer science major, I don't really go through a lot of highlighters because most of my textbooks aren't books. And the math books, they love to just be totally online now. I've even tried to print out the statistics book and just got a blank page because apparently there's some sort of digital rights management thing going on. It's irritating.
Yep, I remember the green screens. I wound up still working with a lot of those.
I gotta go.
Okay, well, thanks for
for
stopping
having me
in.
on. Happy birthday.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wow.
We're that boring, huh?
No, I probably didn't have sleep last night.
Ugh.
Granny leaves and everyone else is yawning. Granny leaves and everyone else is yawning. Look, to be honest, I'll be perfectly happy to go back to bed.
Yeah, like I said, I probably just didn't get enough sleep last night, and I've got to keep preparing for the statistics final, which isn't exciting.
Yeah, I only got about 4 hours last night, so
I think it's about all I've got as well.
But if you can go to a restaurant, maybe you can get a free cupcake.
yeah. I don't know what's been going with me. Again, I've been on this thing that for the past week I've never gotten to bed before sunrise, so
Yeah, well, if you don't have to be up, or if I don't have to be up early in the morning, I'll probably just go to a natural, like, go to sleep at 4, wake up at noon schedule. I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I'm trying to really avoid that as well.
Especially since I know in the next couple of weeks I'm going to have to start waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning again.
So far, I've been managing to wake up around 8, 9 in the morning. That works.
Whew.
yeah, I generally can't keep a consistent schedule for more than a week or so. My body just doesn't want to acknowledge a 24-hour clock.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering when I'm going to follow the schedule myself.
I did experiments with it when I was in my 30s and let it free run for a while and came to the conclusion that I actually run on about a 26.5-hour clock. That just keep pushing things back about 2.5 hours later each day.
Well, if we didn't have... The modern world weren't designed to run on this 24-hour schedule. I'd have to wonder if we would not adapt our own schedule.
Yeah, so you're on Bay Jordan time.
I just also have to wonder, it's like, if we move underground or something, I don't know, say like a nuclear apocalypse happens and vault tech is a real thing and people move to the vaults, are they going to stick to the 24-hour schedule?
I have wondered about that, more along the lines of that if we start having colonies on other planets, how long will it take people to adapt to how long the day is on the other planet?
Interesting enough, if our natural cycle actually has us waking up in the middle of the night for a short period.
Yep. Yeah, that actually sleeping through the night was not a normal thing. And, even a couple hundred, pretty much up until the Industrial Revolution, that it was perfectly normal for people to get up and even go visit neighbors for an hour or two in the middle of the night because everyone was up. It was mostly with the Industrial Revolution and the factories wanting to standardize everybody's schedule.
Listen, morning people, we all need to have a talk about how you got together and made the modern schedule while we were sleeping.
Having to get up in the morning is actually the one drawback of doing my gardening. It's one of the optimal times to water the garden.
Yeah, well, and if at all possible, to not be out there during the heat of the day. If you can get out there earlier.
Fortunately, he doesn't really help all that much, considering being early in the morning. There's a lot of dew on the ground, so everything's wet for me too wet for me to really do much of anything anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much, I dealt with a lot of that when I was landscaping, that the boss always wanted us to get going early, and it's like, yeah, half the mornings you couldn't do anything that early.
Speaking of which, I need to probably go mow someone's lawn sometime this week, probably the same day I do laundry.
Yeah, I still got some more work to do on my lawn as well. I like using that scythe. That's fun.
Yeah, one of the few advantages to renting, I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Oh, this is someone else's lawn, and I even tried to say, it's like, listen, this isn't working. I'm going to stop doing this. You need to find someone else. I was like, I'm going to pay you for this. She's apparently learned how bosses think people quit. Because that's been a common thing lately. It's like, people say, it's like, I'm quitting, and the boss is like, no, you're not. See, it's like, and people have to point out, it's like, no, that's not what quit means. You don't get to dictate to me I'm still coming in.
Yeah.
When did we switch out to these little mini dictatorships?
Well, I think a lot of some employers are just desperate because they're having so hard to get people, and they're just trying these tactics. And employees are just saying, it's like, I don't have to take this treatment anymore. And it's not just the crappy jobs either, because I know it's like a lot of the teacher shortages are happening because teachers just aren't being treated well.
Well, not being treated well, and I think the thing that really drove it home, was during COVID, people started to think about, is this really worth risking my life for every day?
Oh, hello.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi, kids.
How are you doing?
Oh, sane enough, I guess.
I've seen
we'll fix that.
Oh, good. Somebody needs to.
I should probably watch Blade Runner again.
I'm just sitting here in a park. I'm not gonna set the camera up for a visual.
But
In
to
the
be honest,
movie, is Deckard a replicant or was he not?
I don't think it really matters.
It's a big debate.
Yeah, I didn't so much watch the movie as it was kind of on in the room while I was doing something else. So
I'm not going by the sequel either.
Well, Blade Runner 2049 is actually better, but it's a different. But
What movie you're talking about?
Blade Runner, Philip K. Dick's To Androids Dreams of Electric Sheep is a slightly different story. And B, there was no sequel to Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I really wish Hollywood would stop doing that. It's like, if the author didn't write a sequel, don't do one.
Why not? Aren't people allowed to be creative?
They're allowed to be creative. They're allowed to be creative. Go ahead.
No, you go.
They're allowed to be creative, but if the author didn't intend for something to happen after there might be a reason why they stopped it.
This is Hollywood we're talking about. This creativity doesn't really factor into it.
And one of the reasons why The Matrix had so many digs at Warner Brothers was because Warner Brothers kind of forced them into it. What's The Matrix? What's the current one?
I think it's mostly the
What was that, Jenny?
Yeah, you cut off. Lost her.
Oh, yeah, she has trouble with her connections.
Now, as far as Starship Troopers, the movie having sequels, I don't mind because that had very little connection to the book.
Starship Troopers, other than the title, the movie had nothing to do with the book. However, the animated series Roughnecks, that actually fits into the book.
Well, that's because Paul Vanderhoeven, when he actually did the movie, he didn't. The rights to do Robert A. Heinlein Starship Troopers came up and he bought it. So it was going to be Bug Outpost at Planet 9, which was just supposed to be a fascist parody. But because he got the rights to Starship Troopers, which had more name recognition, he just rewrote the script slightly and worked things from the actual book. And like the conversation about violence is actually in the book. It does have a federation, but the focus is not on the society of Starship Troopers, it's on the interactions between the
That explains a
members.
lot.
What?
It wasn't originally written to be Starship Troopers.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that does explain it a lot better. I wasn't aware of that. Well, I just figured the problem they had is that, in the novel Starship Troopers, there really aren't any combat scenes. Most of the book is dialogue between the troops when they're on the ship, either going to a battle or coming home from a battle. They kind of skip over the parts where they're actually down there shooting at things.
Not all of it. There's enough. I think there's enough in the book that they could have worked with.
Yeah, but the book's more about the relationships between the camaraderie of the military, not the Federation is a bad society, because Heinlein didn't say it was good, but he never bothered to really explain why it was bad either.
Well, that could be
It was
worked out
basically
pretty well
backing
too.
up his whole premise that, to be a full citizen, you had to do time in the military.
Hmm.
Which, I could support a modified version of that. Not necessarily the military, but maybe for full citizenship that everyone should have to do a period of community service of some sort. Even if it's just picking up trash in a city park for a few weeks or something. Just to show that you're willing to do something for the greater good.
How about a year?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That I think one of the problems we have in the U.S. with voting is people don't value anything you get for free. So I think if you had to earn full citizenship, including the right to vote, people would take it a lot more seriously.
We could bring back the CCC.
It was a good program in a lot of ways. It had its shortcomings. It actually was a way that a lot of people learned to trade.
And we probably should bring back some sort of equivalent of the TVA for internet access now.
Sorry, what's TVA?
Tennessee Valley Authority.
Yeah.
The thing that caused a lot of Appalachia to get electricity sometimes against its will.
Okay, I wasn't familiar with that particular one, but the larger rural electrification program, which is pretty much the only reason why they got power lines run through the Upper Peninsula.
Because we can't rely on Elon Musk to give everyone internet access. Come on, we can't even rely on Elon Musk to buy Twitter.
Elon Musk is going to give everyone internet access. He's going to run it through the boring tunnels.
Technically, Starlink or satellite internet access should be able to access, if there's proper satellite coverage, all areas of the globe.
So if we put the internet cables through a vacuum, then will it go faster?
No.
Well, yeah, theoretically, though, there isn't any reason why there shouldn't be internet service any place you can get cell phone service.
But cell phone service is limited to being near a tower.
Yeah, but they do extend it with satellite links in places.
The greater good chart.
I think that's chant.
Hey, Doorknob.
And yes, it can definitely be used abusively to try and get people to conform to things that aren't necessarily good ideas.
The internet, or?
No, chanting the greater good.
Oh. I was with you on the internet too, but
Well, yeah, that too, but the concept of the greater good is what allowed them to do things like clear a stand of 100-year-old trees on an Indian reservation to put the light rail through. No, actually, that was, yeah. It was Highway 55 and the light rail corridor.
I'm getting a headache. It might just be probably a sinus headache due to the changes in weather lately.
Ugh, hate those.
I'd rather get them than migraines.
I don't get migraines very often, but when I do, they knock me in my ass.
Yeah, I get them, and just when I do, I can't really do much of anything but
I don't
try to find a very dark place.
I don't get them at all.
Lucky.
Well, the migraines just crank my light sensitivity up to outrageous levels, to the point that even what you would consider a nightlight is painful.
I'll take the devil's I know things.
Yeah, I've had migraines so bad I was nauseous.
And I'd prefer never to have another kidney stone again.
I've never had one myself, but when I was in the ER with my ex and she passed a kidney stone the size of a grain of rice, she said that she no longer believed that men could not suffer a pain as bad as childbirth.
Not had a kidney stone yet, but I do have to be careful with some of the stuff I grow.
Yeah, for all of the for all the odd little medical problems I have, there are a couple of them I should have that haven't shown up yet, so.
Fortunately, that's you. Actually, there's one condition that can make them chronic, but most people don't get chronic kidney stones. Good afternoon, Randolph Richardson.
Hey, Randolph, how you doing?
Shall we blame Canada?
Sure.
Hi, Randy.
No, I am not going to blame Canada because I am still working on my campaign to get them to annex Minnesota.
Can we blame Canada for not annexing Minnesota yet?
Yeah, they should have done it at least 10 years ago.
Listen, can we get a hostile takeover Indiana?
Well, I tried to get Canada to annex Florida, but they told me, no, you keep that.
Well, it's not on their border. I was trying to get them to annex the whole upper Midwest.
We should give Florida to Cuba.
But that keeps Indiana out still.
Yeah, well, I certainly wasn't thinking of Indiana at the time, and I was afraid if we went too far south, we'd wind up getting Chicago in the deal, and I wasn't really sold on that either. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. I wasn't necessarily wanting that to be part of the package.
Which one did you grow up in?
Skokie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was one of the nicer suburbs at the time, but we were the poor family living in the richer suburb.
But wouldn't you have rather grown up in north central Pennsylvania with no large cities around anywhere? The town that was the inspiration for Silent Hill is within driving distance. You have the Little League Museum. You can go see Gettysburg, Hershey Park, Valley Forge. And if you really wanted to, you can go see 3 Mile Island, although I don't know why you would.
So do you think Dr. Oz is going to win in Pennsylvania?
I hope not. That would make me want to move back to Pennsylvania briefly just to vote against him. Because because he has no business running for Senate in Pennsylvania.
No, he doesn't. He's an absolute carpetbagger, 100%.
I'm sure he'll be every bit as good at writing legislation as he has been at giving medical advice.
And that's another reason why Pennsylvanians don't deserve him.
Hey, Amanda, how are you doing?
Hey, Perfect. Happy birthday.
Hey, Manders.
Sorry if there's noise. There's like power washing or something right next to our room.
Okay, you sound kind of distant.
And Pale, I'm getting a buzzing sound. I think maybe something's wrong with your mic.
I'm on my phone, but also like it's not, like I said, they're power washing right outside of our door, so that might be part of it.
That's probably the sound you're hearing.
Yeah. That probably accounts for the kind of buzzing background.
Been concerned about you there, Amanda.
Huh?
We've been worried about you.
It's his birthday, so I'll talk about Amanda's horrible life. I just wanted to come in and say I love you.
Okay. Well, I
Happy
appreciate you
birthday.
stopping in.
What were we talking about anyway?
Oh, I'm heading on out just because there are only 2 people when it started and that looked.
Okay.
Just
And
whatever.
And I have things I need to prepare for coming up.
Okay, do you have anything you want to plug before you go?
Well, hopefully I can actually... I really need to start on the Data Lovelace video I keep planning to do. A couple other computer, like history of STEM topics. Just remember, everyone, be excellent to each other, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Bye-bye.
Oh, hey, Randolph.
Hey,
Did I
You're
miss
muted.
something? Why
No.
does Randolph? What happened to your eye, Randolph?
Yeah, Randolph, you're muted.
So happy birthday, Purple Rhymes with Orange, and I think Sinister Porpoise was trying to finish off the word fish before getting abruptly disconnected there. Yeah, so what happened to my eye? I'm seeing a spot. It's just a discoloration, and I was hit in the eye with a hard baseball when I was a kid, and I think I'm starting to see the effects of that now. But the ophthalmologist suggested this, and I know somebody else, his wife had similar problem, and the eye patch for a little while helped make it go away, and it is gradually going away as I wear this for the last couple of days.
Yeah. So when do you get?
Doesn't International Pirates Day come up pretty soon?
I guess so.
Yeah, so when you get the hook.
Yeah, I guess I should. It's obligatory now, isn't it? Somebody told me
Randolph,
it's wonderful. I guess that's the Russian R, isn't it? Yeah, somebody told me I look like Phil Sebin from the Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law Show, but I don't have the black mustache, so.
Oh, a little hair dye. I should fix that.
Thank you, Robert. Love you too. Sorry I can't type in the chat.
Yeah, Blue Mama, it's good to hear your voice. It's been a long time. I hope you're keeping well.
No.
Oh.
Okay. I'm sorry about your eye, Randolph. Have you seen a doctor yet about it, or are you just making the assumption that it was from the past injury?
I having a little trouble hearing. There's a lot of noise here, and I'm going to do some yard work. What was that?
I was just wondering if you've seen a doctor about your eye yet. And was saying sorry that you.
Oh yeah, I have an ophthalmologist. Yeah, ophthalmologists are MDs.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, everything else is good. It's just it's some of the receptors of the back of the eye are starting to have a little bit of an issue. They're not doing so well. Only a few of them.
Okay, and I just want to remind people that I have already claimed all the trademarks for the toy line for Atheist Biker Pirates from the internet.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, I'm already working on action figures with likenesses of all of you.
Oh, really? Okay. If I can help, let me know.
And then Slothrill is going to do plushie versions.
Wow. Okay. Flying Spaghetti Monster fame it is then. Well,
Have our own of
action figures. Yeah. I hope Pale Blue Mama's theme is going to be saving the environment, saving the kind of theme.
trying.
Yeah, no, you'd be right for it because you promote that and it's important. So
I've basically given up on trying to be nice to climate deniers on like Twitter and stuff. And I don't know. I've pulled off a couple in the last few days. One guy blocked me almost instantly today, and I called him a pussy. So,
wow.
I'm with them.
Yeah, for me, it's lately it's the anti-abortion forced birthers who are going after me. So I guess they make the rounds.
I don't block people, but have been plenty of people who blocked me.
All I did, like, this guy, it said something about, you know, us, we should be, or we're going to go into an ice age or whatever, and made a joke about how climate change isn't real. And I was like, hey, dumbass, we're in an ice age. And then he immediately blocked me. So.
Yeah, I try to use the blocking sparingly. My attitude is a block has to be earned, so I'm pretty forgiving of a lot of stuff before I'll block someone. Usually, by the time I've blocked them, most of the people I know already have.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
so-
I've blocked 2 or 3 people, but I can't really even remember because that's spread out over several years.
So far, no one's managed to.
Jeff, we're getting like a lot of
Yo.
wind noise from you.
On mute.
So far, I haven't had to block anybody. They haven't reached my point of blocking.
I got my first celebrity block though. Frank
Who's
Turek
that?
blocked me.
Oh, shit. That's something to be proud of.
Who's
Yeah.
Frank Turek?
Seriously?
Christian apologist.
Oh, okay. Oh, a nobody.
Yeah, he did not like some of my interpretations.
SJ blocked me a couple of weeks ago, and it's like she just unblocked me. I was in a thread with Kate and her, and Kate was way meaner, but she blocked me, and she's still fucking fighting with Kate. And
Did
I'm
you
still
say-
blocked though.
S.J. Thomason blocked you? She blocked me for a while, then she unblocked me because she wants the drama to continue.
She's
Yeah.
blocked everyone. She's blocked everyone at some point or another, though, hasn't she? Just be honest.
Yeah, she blocks everybody, and then when she's not getting enough attention, she unblocks people to stir up more drama.
I'm always a bit disappointed because there's a certain atheist I've been trying to get blocked by for months, and he just doesn't seem to take my bait, and that's David Silverman. He just won't take the bait.
Silverman won't even interact with me, but I'm pretty sure it's just because I'm not big enough for him to bother with. I think I have like 3 blocks. One of them is the NBA, and I don't know why I blocked them, but clearly it was for a reason. And another one was for some fucking Nazi douchebag who sent me a DM with a meme that said he was going to rape me. So that was awesome. And then I don't remember what the third one was. The fucked up thing, though, is this guy never got in trouble for what he sent me because he didn't write it because it was in a meme. So Twitter didn't register it as, they only registered it as a picture and not a threat, since he didn't use the actual words and just sent a meme that said he was going to do it. So, awesome, I guess. Fucking Twitter is stupid.
That's one of the reasons I do lots of memes.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that happen so many times where people say something really nasty but never get blocked because it's a meme. So I use it.
Also,
I say
if you're,
very nasty things to certain people.
if you're transphobic, you tend to go away with a lot more bullshit, I've noticed.
Yeah, unfortunately, they keep, they let the turfs go and they keep blocking the people who are trying to stand up to them.
Well, did you see? Was it about a week ago? I mean, in case she's got back on within a few hours, but they got Katie Montgomery bloody kicked off of Twitter for a few hours, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she was off for 12 hours.
She got knocked off for a little bit, also because she made an inside joke it sounded very turfy, that other people have said to her like 1 billion times, and she said it sarcastically, and then they punished her for it. So it makes a lot of sense, right? Honestly, I really do think that they target some of the trans community, especially after what they did with Amber. I'm still fucking pissed about that. A few others I know.
Well, I'm fucking disgusted with that one still to this day. It's disgusting what they did to Amber.
Yeah, they've never fixed that one.
I just don't understand why Twitter falls for the mass reporting scam every time. Their algorithm just isn't smart enough.
Same thing with YouTube, isn't it? You can just mass flag a blooming video on YouTube, regardless of its content. You can get it taken down. And we've seen people abuse this process time and time again because you're just dealing with like algorithms and it's no human beings you can talk to.
Yep. Yeah, it's all done with bots.
Yeah, my first stream with John and it wasn't even an atheism stream. It was just a stream we were talking about Stranger Things, I think. Got mass reported by fucking Steve McRae's crowd, just because I had been on a stream with Kate a few weeks earlier, and it got taken down like 10 minutes into it.
Were they the ones who reported that? Because I was in that stream. I was in the chat in that stream where you had Kate on. Because I was telling, I won't mention her name, but she was at the time in Steve's crowd, and I was telling her to back off of Kate.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I may not like Steve, but I know he wasn't responsible for it. It was just his people.
No.
That.
But the irony of it was, the irony of this is the person who was kicking off in the chat this day had a massive falling out with him a couple of months ago, which somebody fell out with him. Big surprise,
I'm surprised.
You had a falling out with Steve, Jeff?
I'm surprised Steve still has a crowd.
He's got his best friend.
Who are you talking about? Which Steve?
Your best mate, Randolph.
Oh, McCrae. He's not my best mate.
I know, Randolph. That was sarcasm. I know you got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not worth it. He's been in trouble for. He got a restraining order for sexual harassment, some pretty serious stuff, and there's some other problems too, fraud raisers and things like that. He's been part of. He's bad news. I suggest.
Whoa! Hold on, Randolph.
Yep. Yeah.
Now the sexual harassment stuff, yes. The funniest stuff wasn't him, and he got scammed on one of them as well, and I did as well, but Ilya Moon.
Well,
that wasn't him, and he wasn't involved in the other one that was exposed either. So
he's been. So I don't care. I'm done with it. But there's people who will disagree with you and have presented evidence. So I actually don't care. I'm done with him.
Well, that's fair enough. But I'm just like, look, I criticise him for shit he has done, but it's not fair to call him on shit he hasn't done.
Well, I would suggest the people who are presenting the evidence of him doing that and being involved in it.
Yeah, well, Well, yeah, I've seen that, and I know who was involved in. I know he was not involved in the Sean Hufford
Here's
one.
the
And
other
the
reason I
other
have a
one,
big problem with him.
yeah,
He's falsely accused me of engaging in fraud, and he got his friends to do the same, who got some of their friends to do the same. They made videos about it.
yeah.
When I
I know about that. Yeah.
When I confronted them to go ahead and report to the local RCMP, our local police here, they refused to do it, and they came up with every excuse why not to do it. So I called their bluff, basically. It's a bunch of attempts to slander me, and I'm done with them.
Yeah, I remember that one because I foolishly tried to play peacemaker with you and somebody else, and I got jumped on by that crowd for it.
Wow. Well, thanks for standing up for me. I appreciate it. There were quite a lot of people who wanted to donate money to me to fund legal action against them for it, and I said no. It's basically they're not a big enough name to have any impact on me. What do I care? I don't want to spend $25,000 to do a slander suit.
Yeah,
because that's what a typical slander libel.
And the irony of it is, Randolph, these are the same people who had a massive falling out with him several months ago.
So,
who were coming after you. So it's quite funny, this, in a way.
I just want to add one thing to that. All those people who want to donate money, I told them, pick a charity of your choosing and donate it there if you must donate it somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't take any of it. So these guys, I just don't want to have any involvement with them. But I will speak out quite strongly against them when their names come up because of what they've done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's get off of them.
Yep.
To be honest,
I'm still angry because
Go ahead.
I'm still angry at him calling me a geologist. So I'm gonna stick with that.
What did he call me?
Mischaracterizing my scientific
a geologist.
Yeah.
There's certain things that are crossing the line.
Yeah, you got to stand up.
Exactly.
I mean, all the other serious shit we talked about. That's nothing. But calling Manda a geologist, whoa, that's too far.
Did you know that geologists watch earthy films?
I don't know. It just really. I mean, I have geologist friends. I have respect for geology, and it was a big part of my climate, studying climate science. It's one of the multiple scientific disciplines I had to learn for climate, but it's not. There's a big difference in it, and he wasn't my favorite person to begin with, and our first interaction was him calling me a geologist. When he found out about my astrophysics background, he was all like, somebody was like, "Yo, you guys should do a stream together," and I was like, "No, thanks, I'm good."
I mean, I have a lot. I have a lot less to do with that lot now than I used to as well. So anyway, let's get off of this because it's drama shit. Let's get off of this.
Yeah, I prefer to avoid the drama. It's actually one of the reasons why it hasn't bothered me that my channel grows so slow, is I haven't attracted enough attention for any drama.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're the biggest drama for in this entire community, Parrots. Totally. It's a joke. You're clearly not.
I never attract any
sweeter than purple.
drama, no matter how nasty I am. Nobody ever harasses me back. It's kind of disappointing. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I was blocked by about a half a dozen people because I used the word queef in a tweet. And they got all upset with that.
That's what they blocked you for?
Yeah. Oh man, they hit the roof with that. So okay, fine. Bye.
Did they even know what the term meant, or did they take it as being like a queer reference or something?
Well, I don't know, but it feels like they don't know what it means because of how radical they reacted. It's Come on, it's a fart joke.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what I was guessing, is that they thought you were calling them queer or something.
No, these were trans people.
Oh.
So I don't care. That was like a year ago or something. Who cares? But other than that, I've never been harassed by TERFs. I've never been harassed by chasers. I feel like nobody reads my stuff.
I do.
I get a couple of random shots just when I get into discussions on Twitter, but nobody who pays attention to me long enough.
Oh boy, the cicadas are starting to talk.
Yay.
Yeah, they like the heat. The warmer it gets, the more they chatter.
They can get loud too.
Hey, Kitty.
Hey everyone, sorry, I'm a little under the weather. I caught like a summer cold or flu or something. It's not fun.
Okay, well, I hope it's nothing more serious.
How
No.
how are the temperatures out in your neck of the woods, or any of you? Because we've had a couple of really, for UK standards, really bad hot days.
Heavy rain and 92 degrees Fahrenheit, even with it raining.
That's the thing Mage and I were talking about before we went live, is that even when it rains, it doesn't seem to bring the temperature down any.
So 34 degrees Celsius while it is pouring ass rain outside. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
We've recorded temperatures of over 40 in parts of the UK, which is like almost unheard of. And I know, like, to a lot of you guys, that's like probably nothing, but to us, we don't do well in that kind of weather. We're not used to it.
You guys don't have central air either. Like, you might have a window unit to cool a room down, but it's mostly just fans. So, like, you don't have the infrastructure to handle those kinds of temperatures.
I would bet that if you room air conditioners in UK, it never gets over 80.
Yeah, most houses just don't have them at all.
Yeah, here in Florida, it's a requirement for building code to have central air.
Yeah, I can get that.
Florida sucks. It's hot as hell. It's infested with Florida men, and the government is crazy. That's why I left basically 15 years ago.
Yeah, my family moved from Massachusetts to Florida when I was a kid, and now my whole family is here, and I don't really have the means to go to another state. And even if I did, my child is autistic, so like the change of being able to see his family every week to not would really fuck him up.
Well, my proposal is to do an exchange program with Texas. You've seen that in the groups.
Yeah, Texas isn't much better. I mean, it's slowly turning blue, but the fucking Texas GOP, they want to basically burn it all down before that happens.
I found that there's about equal number of Republicans in Florida as there are Democrats in Texas, so we just swap.
I mean, there are worse options out there. But yeah, like it's actually storming.
Yep. Can you decode Sloth Girls? Hippo birdie to you, hippo birdie to you.
That's great. Sorry if my voice is all fucked.
Awesome.
Like I'm all sore throat and little chest congestion. But it's not COVID. Like we're all sick. Like Michael got sick first, and then Chris, and then me. For once, I wasn't the first one to get sick, which is how it usually is because my immune system sucks. But Michael got it first, and he did a COVID test, and I could do a COVID test, but I have the same symptoms he did, and it wasn't COVID for him, so it's not likely that I have COVID, and I don't want to waste the test,
Yeah.
because it's like we already used up 2 tests on Michael, and it wasn't. So considering same symptoms and we sleep next to each other, I'm just gonna whatever he has is what I have, which is probably just a flu or a really bad cold. Honestly, it's mostly like a sore throat and a cough and like a little bit of like sinus pressure and congestion.
It
Well,
sounds
that's
like
the
a
way
cold.
Sloth and I have always figured it, that it's not really worth testing both of us. That if either of us has something, we've both got it within a week.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, when you have a household of multiple people, like, and it's not like COVID tests are free, and I'd like to have them just in case, because
there actually is a
no, there's a program where
with
you
the
can
federal
get a couple,
government
but
now.
it's limited.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I was going to say you can get like 5 per address.
Get yourself some hibiscus.
I've been having the same kind of thing, that my cough and my sinuses have been worse, but I think that's just indoor allergies with the air being recycled.
Yeah, get yourself some hibiscus.
Because I've got the doctor appointments tomorrow. I did the COVID test last night to be sure.
Get yourself some hibiscus tea there, Kitty. It'll help with your throat.
That, and I've got Theraflu, which is one of my favorite fucking things ever. Theraflu is amazing. The apple cinnamon one is my favorite because it's got Sudafed in it. I mean, granted, I took Dayquil this morning because I woke up feeling a little bit warm anyway, so I didn't want to warm myself up with a hot cup of tea. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll just take my Dayquil." And when it comes time to have something again, I'm feeling more normal now, so I'll do my Theraflu because it seems to work better, the Theraflu, for when I have a sinus congestion, because I get really bad sinus headaches, like the pressure, like I get it behind my eyes and it's the worst. But I did treat myself to some chocolate. This is new. I did not know they made these, but I went to the candy aisle and I found this, and I'm in love.
Can you blow her up so we can see that?
Yeah. Is that Ferrero Rocher hot cocoa?
No, it's a chocolate bar with little bits of hazelnut in it. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know they made a chocolate bar because, like, I love the Rocher. Like, I love the original Rocher, and I love the coconut ones. The dark chocolate, I'll eat them. Like, when you get the big multi-pack where it's got, like, all 3 varieties, I'll eat the dark chocolate ones. I don't mind them, but they're not my favorite. My favorite are the original and the coconut ones.
You got that from Publix?
Walmart. It was in the candy section in Walmart. And I was like, I have to try this. Because whenever I don't feel good, like, I had a really, really rough weekend. I spent a lot of it crying, which is why I didn't. My son's got one of those stretch tubes, and he's making like elephant noises. Baby.
Well, I'll look for that since I have to get to Walmart at some point this week.
But no, I had a bit of a rough weekend. Thursday was my mom's birthday dinner, and I went to that. Like, I surprised her, and I knew that my cousin was coming in from Massachusetts to surprise my mom for her birthday. And, my cousin rented a Star Wars themed house here in Orlando for the weekend for everybody to go and hang out. And I was invited, but then when the time came and I messaged them saying, hey, yeah, I still need the address, they never got back to me. So I didn't end up getting to go. And I don't get to spend time with my cousin much. And like, there was supposed to be a pool, and I had gotten my son excited that he was going to go because we don't have access to a pool. And like that really fucked me up. I was very, very upset, and I was bawling my eyes out for days. So I thought the sore throat and like the pressure in my head was just from crying a lot. So like I'm used to being the one left out of things, but like to like being invited and then me getting my son excited about it, and then it
getting your
falling
kid all
through,
hyped up about it.
that broke me. It really did, so yeah, I had a bit of a rough weekend. I spent all day Saturday like crying, and Sunday and Monday. It's been a rough few days. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, as far as the chocolate things, there was something I had several years ago that I haven't been able to find again. I can't even remember. It may have been the Giavaldi. I'm not sure which brand it was. But it was dark chocolate squares that had pomegranate seeds. And I love pomegranate.
It might have been Ghirardelli, or it might have been Brookstone. They have like acai, or they have pomegranate, and it's like little like balls of chocolate with like fruit inside that are really delicious.
These were individually wrapped little flat squares.
Then it was probably Godiva or Ghirardelli.
Yep.
Probably Ghirardelli, since I don't know if Godiva has anything with pomegranate.
Yeah, I found them like one time, and I've never seen them again. And they were just so good.
I got this. It's actually a syrup. It's actually meant for like margarita mixes and stuff. If it's a cherry pomegranate, and I actually put some on ice cream last night. Pretty good.
Sounds good.
I mean, like, I'm more pomegranate than cherry. But it does sound good. Yeah. Actually, I saw something at Walmart last night that piqued my interest. They have boozy ice cream now. Like they had a bourbon caramel. They had a strawberry moonshine. They had it was a mocha, like something, I don't know. But they had like 6 different varieties of ice cream that are boozy. Like, and I thought that's really cool. Like, I'm not a drinker. Like, I can count on one hand the number of drinks I will consume in an entire year. Usually it's 1 or 2, like at a special occasion. And even then I very rarely finish them. I don't really drink anymore, but just the idea of like boozy ice cream, like, it was coconut rum. That was another one of the flavors they had.
I might have to try that.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little pint of ice cream. So it's like, I mean, granted, it's expensive. Alcohol is expensive. So it's like $10 for the little pint. But like,
was it like the Haagen-Dazs brand?
No, it was its own special brand.
A pint is a small amount of ice cream?
Well, yeah, like the little...
single serving.
Yeah.
What?
That was one thing my late fiance was never able to convince me that a pint of Ben & Jerry's was not a single serving.
Well, here's the thing. Like for me, when I get a pint of ice cream, it is multiple servings for me. But I don't eat a lot in one sitting. But when I think ice cream, I'm thinking buying by the half gallon or the gallon. So like, and when you can get a half gallon of ice cream for $5, a pint of ice cream for $10 is expensive. Yeah. But it is boozy. So like there's alcohol in it. So that kind of like I said, alcohol is more expensive. So anything with alcohol is going to be more expensive.
I could go
I want to try it. Like, I kind of want to try. I want to try, like, I love coconut, but, like, I can't do rum. So I'm thinking the bourbon caramel would be the one that I would get to try.
I was going to say, Malibu ice cream sounds pretty bad on the surface a bit.
Well, it's not Malibu. It's just rum, like, and coconut. Like I've actually had good coconut flavored alcohols, and I've had rums that are okay. It's just the last time that I drank rum, like it made me kind of mean, and like that's not me. So
I'm a big lover of rum and coke. But dark rum, I can't drink white rum or even spiced rum. I've got to go with dark rum.
For me, it's bourbon or
myself.
vodka. Like I love like a vodka cranberry, like with the flavored vodkas you can get. Like there's it's Ciroc, like red berry. So I don't know if it's supposed to be strawberry or raspberry or a mix of the two, but Ciroc red berry is one of my favorites. And like a little bit of that vodka with some Sprite and some pomegranate juice, and like that was one of my favorite go-to mixed drinks.
If you like a coconut, I recommend going to Haagen-Dazs. Has pineapple coconut.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It doesn't have bits of coconut in it. It's more like the coconut milk in the ice cream, and then they have bits of pineapple in it.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Yeah, that sounds right up my alley because I love pineapple and coconut.
Yeah, Publix will do a buy one get one on the little tiny cases every so often. So look for it then.
Yeah, sometimes see that at our grocery store here. That sometimes they'll do the Ben and Jerry's on the buy one get one free.
Yeah, usually with the Publix they'll do Ben and Jerry's, and like the next week they'll do Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah,
I'm an Americone Dream fan.
I don't really much care for the Ben and Jerry's pineapple coconut because they use bits of coconut in the thing.
See, I love coconut, so it would be fine for me.
But I just think the Haagen-Dazs one has a better flavor to it because it has that
coconut.
I like real coconut. I like real coconut. It can't stand any kind of artificial coconut flavor. They just always taste wrong.
I don't think the Haagen-Dazs is using an artificial flavor the way it tastes.
You know, I was never a big fan of Haagen-Dazs. I never really thought it was anything that special for the price of a premium.
I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. Wow.
Can't remember what the seam allowance is supposed to be on this thing, so I gotta pull it up.
But I've tried some of these, some of the Haagen-Dazs boozy ones, and I don't know. I don't think they really taste like the actual alcohol that is supposed to be presented as.
I'm amazed that Haagen-Dazs actually cornered icecream.com. Like it's just Haagen-Dazs' website.
You know, like I think they have a Irish cream one that I tried and just didn't taste like Irish cream at all to me.
Call me old-fashioned, but I'll just go for a plain old-fashioned Mr. Whippy when it comes to ice cream, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Whippy.
Oh,
that sounds fun.
The Ben and Jerry's Cherry Garcia is definitely my favorite.
Mm-hmm. That is a good one.
I like the Americone Dream too, but you know, since I don't have any teeth left, it gets a little bit difficult.
The little crunchy bits.
Yeah, well, and you know, anything that's got too much crunch in it, especially anything with nuts, I really can't eat it anymore.
Yeah, there's another place.
I really miss cashews and pistachios.
Actually, you might be able to do these because the pieces of the hazelnut are so tiny that you can just swallow them. They're already the size they would be when you chew them up.
Yeah, that's actually the reason why I grind my the pecans in my sweet potato casserole into almost dust because I was giving it to somebody who didn't have teeth.
I was just seeing what Tiny Captain put in there that as well. Talisker is a lovely single malt as well. I will agree with that. Not necessarily my favourite, but I am. It is a very nice single malt.
So here, you can see the pieces of hazelnut in here. They are super tiny.
Let me.
Unfortunately, I'm out of rum, so
they're already the size that they would be after you chewed up a hazelnut, so you can just swallow it.
Yeah,
directly.
I do find that in some candies, in some chocolates, the nuts are already small enough.
Yeah. Something I'm thinking about doing with this Fireball whiskey I have is I'm gonna maybe put some of the that cherry pomegranate It's syrup in it. See how that goes.
Cherry pump. Oh, now there's an idea. I'll have to try that. Actually, I have an excessive stock of the Fireball whiskey.
Is this cherry pomegranate? Is this like a relative of grenadine, or?
No, it was just this. It's like a margarita mix syrup that I got. I actually used it for a drink. I was mixing it with strawberries, hibiscus tea, and coconut milk.
Interesting.
I actually wanted to get a strawberry one, but the strawberry syrups and mixers were in big containers that were costing like $7-8, and this thing was like $3.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
think
was wondering.
I'm. Sorry, Parrots. I think I'm going to have to drop out. So.
Okay.
Yeah, just want to come and wish you a happy birthday.
You got anything you want to plug before you go?
Not massively, because, well, I don't know how much I'm going to be doing over the next few months, in all honesty. Looks, because I think real life's getting in the way. It looks like we could be spending a good part of the summer out on strike. So, looks like, yeah, times are going to get quite hard. So, I don't know. So, I don't know what I'm going to be doing at the moment, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So,
well.
Yeah, it looks like the UK is trying to have a hold my beer moment with the US. It's like we fucking overturned Roe v. Wade here, and the UK's like, hey, why don't we revisit human rights laws?
Oh, they've been trying that ever since we got out of the EU, but then, crikey, I mean, such a clusterfuck at the moment about who our next prime minister is going to be. It's because they finally forced Boris's hands a little bit. So
yeah, it seems like all these major countries are trying to do a race to the bottom at this rate.
Well, consolidate power in late stage capitalism before the people revolt.
Well, let's put it this way: it's gotten that bad that not only are we in dispute with the company, but our managers' union is in dispute with the company as well. So that's almost unheard of.
Yeah, well,
so
all
it
through
could
the
be some
Trump era,
interesting.
All through the Trump era, it has seemed that the conservatives in the UK have just been taking notes and, basically trying to follow everything up.
Pretty much.
It's kind of like, yeah, well, now, okay, they've gotten away with that in America. What can we get away with here? Yeah.
The conservatives of UK, America, France, and Germany have all been colluding together for the past 6 years. And they have made specific plans about a pathway to fascism and to get rid of human rights and all kinds of things that the Nazis have always wanted to do. They're trying their best to bring it back on a world basis. And this is not some dream in my head. I've seen news reports about this conservative wacko and that conservative wacko having meetings with this governmental leader of this country or that country. It's been going on. And people are just starting to wake up, and it's damn near too late.
Yeah, our conservatives are really big on like individual rights and liberties, until it's something that affects them. So, yeah.
Well, you forget, like, these are the people that when showing The Sound of Music on VHS to their kids, they stopped at the wedding. They didn't show the second tape where it showed them, fighting and fleeing the Nazis. And The Sound of Music could not be made today because it would be considered too woke and too political. And that should really frighten everyone. Because if you think that The Sound of Music ends when she gets married to him, it doesn't. It continues beyond that. And they have to flee the Nazis.
Yeah, well, we're all going to be doing that soon.
Oh well,
you're not wrong.
Like I said, it's going to be interesting. Could be an interesting summer ahead for myself. But interesting thing is, we got the ballot results back today for our strike ballot. 97.6% in favour. That's almost unheard of.
Wow.
In favor of what?
Of striking.
Oh.
And that's off of a 77% return, which is a pretty damn good return. I mean, you know, which is going to be funny because you'll have all these conservative politicians saying, well, only 70% voted for you. And I'm like, hold on. Like, every time there's been a major election in the UK, like sometimes less than half the country actually vote. I mean, the biggest turnout we ever had for any vote in this country, like politically, was Brexit, and that was 72%.
And like there was propaganda around it to trick people into voting for it.
What was they're voting on striking what? I missed that part.
We're voting on striking partially pay, but also kind of conditions about what they want to implement as well. So, yeah, we voted in favour of it. Our managers have voted in favour of it. But there's strikes all across the UK. Like rail workers have been on strike.
This is worker strikes. I got it. Sorry, I was thinking war strikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I stand in solidarity with you, comrade.
Oh yeah, I always like to hear that. So yeah, good old fashioned good old fashioned class war is kind of what we need in the UK right now, sir.
We kind of need it in the US too, considering union membership and just union, existence in general is at an all-time low. We're in late-stage capitalism, and now, the people in power are stripping us of our rights. Again, trying to consolidate and solidify power because they see the writing on the wall that things are about to implode, and they want to make sure they get theirs. Fuck everybody else.
Yep.
Well, and then I'm hearing about the possibility of civil war starting out in the southern states, and that's worrisome.
Yeah.
Considering I live in the southern states, it's incredibly worrisome for me.
Yeah.
I was going to go about 10 minutes ago, so anyway. I was supposed to be going about 10 minutes ago. Well, once again, happy birthday, Parrots. Good to see everyone again. It's been a while since I've been on a stream with people, to be honest.
Good to see you guys.
Catch up with people.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Here we go for the summer, eh? Victory to the workers. See you later.
Bye,
Solidarity.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Slethrill, I should be able to make something for like a makeup bag. Like, yeah, I can do that. I'll go through and pick out, like, DM me on Twitter some things that your daughter likes, and I'll go through my fabrics and curate a few, and then send a picture, and she can choose. And then I'll figure out what size she needs it to be, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think she was thinking of something a bit bigger than that.
Well,
the
obviously,
bag you made for her there.
Yeah, no, the bag I made for her was meant just to hold the crochet hook roll, basically. That was a specific thing. If I were going to do a makeup bag, it would probably end up being a bit more like one of the ones I made for Diana's auction, which I have over here.
Hey, Perp, I sent you that picture on Twitter DM. I want you to share that, please.
Yeah. Share that while I dig it out, because I just put everything in one of the bags. One of my son's random things. Okay.
It'll take me a minute to find Jenny's thing on Twitter.
If the spaceship gets hit by an asteroid, it will break.
Yes, if a spaceship gets hit by an asteroid, it will break. Asteroids have a habit of breaking things that they run into.
Hashtag true.
Because they're moving very fast.
But if I were going to do a makeup bag, it would probably be around this size. But I could do bigger. But
that'll hold a lot of makeup.
Not for me. It is not big enough for me. So this is my makeup bag.
Toiletry bag. Oh my.
Jeez.
And it is so full that I have to Tetris everything in it. So not everybody's makeup will fit.
That's not a makeup bag. That's a makeup backpack.
Your results may vary.
That's not very unusual from what I've
Ready
seen.
for every occasion.
Well, I have a lot of makeup. Like, I have eyeshadow palettes and brushes, false lashes. Plus, I've got different foundations. And I could condense it down a little bit, but not much, honestly. That's already been condensed down. Like, I have another bag that's got stuff that doesn't fit in there.
Well, here's the thing that Jenny wanted me to show.
You zoom a little?
No, that's all I can do with it. It says who wore it better.
White ass Elon Musk.
Yeah, is he white or what?
If you click on the click on the image and go to new tab, you should be able to get a bigger picture.
You know, the fact that he's holding a drink gives him a pass. He's always got a way out with memes somehow.
I just thought y'all
Honestly, if I were out in the sun, like, my lighting is quite flattering to me. But if I were out in the sun, I would be just as pasty white. And yeah, I can't take a jab at him for that. Instead, I'll take a jab at him for fucking courting with fascists.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen any of my videos with my hand in the picture, that's about as tan as I get.
Well, see, I'm seasonal. That if I'm out in the sun enough, I can get up to my dad's Eastern European. But in the winter, I go back to my mom's Scandinavian, and if I stand in front of a snowbank, you can't see me.
Wow.
Oh,
I sunburn easily, but it sounds like you're whiter than me.
So
I just got a
my
message.
sister and I, like, she is, pale. Like, she's actually lighter than my other sister, and we got our nails done purple. I just sent you a picture of us with our matching nails, and you can tell which hand is mine.
Oh, I got a message from Amanda. She said she's sorry about the Wi-Fi crapping out on her, and happy birthday, Purple.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say that. Happy birthday, Purple. And I'm sorry I've been quiet. I'm watching season 4 of Game of Thrones. And they're just about to get to the fight between Oberon and the Mountain. So I might drop out here in a minute.
I haven't had enough time to join as many live streams lately, but it's been fun being here and getting a chance to say happy birthday to.
Yeah, we haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, and you went and became a fucking pirate without telling us. Like, what the fuck?
I have.
Yeah, we've got enough new
nothing ordered.
people. I think you've got to kind of repeat that.
Yeah, so Titan's asking what I did to my eye. I didn't do it. It was I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. When I was a kid, I got hit in the eye with a hard baseball, not a softball, just a regular baseball. And
Ouch.
yeah, after someone just hit it with a bat from a distance. So it wasn't on purpose or anything, but just accidental stuff that happens. And so now I'm starting to see the effects of it 35 years later or something. And
Wow.
And I've got a kind of discolored spot that shows up a little bit. It's faint, and it distorts the direction of the light a little bit. So it's covering this up gives the eye a chance to rest more, and it is working. It is going away a little bit. So I don't know if it'll ever go away completely, but at least it's.
I remember in 5th grade, I got knocked out by a tether ball that hit me right in the temple.
Jesus. Ooh.
Well, when I saw you with the eye patch, my first thought was I went back to when I'd been using a grinder and I got a metal sliver in my eye.
Ooh.
My dad got a lead sinker in his eye when he was out fishing with my mom once. The fucking line got caught in a tree, and my mom fucking yanked on it, and my dad's face just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Ouch. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, my dad's kind of a weirdo, like badass, like, you know, pain is weakness, leaving the body kind of thing. Like once he was using the fryolator and he dropped a fork into the hot oil and he told my crippled ass to go get him some tongs, and I did not move fast enough for him, so he literally just shoved his hand in to grab it. Now, granted, the oil was heating up, but it was still hot enough to fucking burn. So my dad's just, he's a character.
Sloth Girl's telling me to say it was a knife fight. Much more interesting. I actually have a scar on my elbow from a knife fight when I was a kid. Somebody mugged me, and then I turned the weapon on them, and they got injured, and I ran off. And they're lying on the ground. I glance back, and there's their buddy coming out of the bushes to help them. So, yeah, I learned the easy way. Don't stick around when someone's trying to mug you.
Yeah.
Usually got friends nearby.
Yeah, I got a knife
thing
wound
is
on
if you
my
can
arm.
knock them off your feet so you can get a chance to run.
He wanted money. I was a little kid. I had I didn't even have 5 cents on me. I was nothing. And he insisted that I give him money. So anyway, I had no choice, but I got cut in the process. It was a deep cut too. So
I have a cut on my arm from my ex-husband and a paring knife. And then, like, as far as muggings go, my friend's mom was actually killed in a mugging, and she had like less than $2 in her purse. She was walking home from work, like, and it sucks, but it goes to show you, like, you know, it's true. Like, the studies have shown that the number one predicator for violent crime is poverty. If you take care of people and you lift them out of poverty, crime goes down. Full stop.
We all do better when we all do better.
There you go.
Rising tide raises all boats and all that.
Oh, that's a good saying. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's true. I mean, and all these people that they're currently making $15, $20 an hour, like, they're some of the most vocal people saying, hey, I don't want a $15 minimum wage because, you know, that fucks me over because then I'll be making minimum wage. And it's like, no, like, the way it should be instituted, I think, is it should be a sliding scale. So if you're currently, if say minimum wage is $10 an hour and it goes up to 15 and you are already making 15, you add the difference between those two to your salary. So you get raised up, like, everything gets raised up proportionately. So if you have seniority, if you put in the time to get extra training and certifications and so on, like, you are rewarded for that, while we are also still, you know, bringing the lowest people up and, you know, trying to even it out for a more egalitarian society. So
I think we'd
hey,
still
what do
be
I know?
better off if we just went with a UBI to guarantee everyone's
Yeah,
got a
but
minimum monthly income.
What we keep running into problems with people getting raises and stuff is that these companies will fire the people who got the raise so you can hire somebody at base level.
Well, you would
They
have
don't
to
have
put
pay as
in
much.
protections into the law to prevent companies from doing that. And that's why all these people that are like, oh, I want small government, they only say that when they're talking about regulations. They don't want small government when people are getting involved in other people's uteruses.
I say we should have smart government. It doesn't matter. It's not a matter of how big or small when we're talking. It's a matter of how it's being applied.
Well, if you want smart government, we're going to need almost a whole new league of politicians.
Kids, I'm going to take off. I want to head home here.
I got it.
Hi, Jenny.
Take care, Jenny. Good talking with you.
Okay, Jenny.
Talk to you later.
Yep.
Be safe.
The sky is very dark outside. So if you lose me, I love you, perps. Like, I'm just gonna be sitting here sewing, so I'll be here. But it's storming, so if we lose power or internet, just giving you a heads up.
The sky is very dark as well. The sky is very dark sounded like a metaphor in response to my comment about the politicians.
I mean, that is true. Like, it really does work either way.
Randolph, was that like a little garden you were setting up there, or just
Yeah, it was
watering
just,
seeds?
I removed construction material left over that was there for a while, and underneath it, the grass is gone. It's all dirt, so because it doesn't survive under that, so I just put new dirt down, grass seed, and then raked it and watered the heck out of it. And so I got to water it every night till it starts to grow. So we're just recovering grass now.
I see. See, I would have just done a garden there. Screw grass.
Yeah. You've been doing some gardening?
Get something useful going there. Oh yeah, I'm doing quite a bit of gardening. I even started my own gardening channel.
You should turn on your camera and show people that you're being productive.
I actually don't have a web camera.
Oh, your phone doesn't have a camera.
Oh, my phone has a camera. I don't have a web camera to do. I'm on my PC.
Oh, you're using your PC. Okay, so yeah. I
don't want to put my face on camera anyway.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah. So I've been doing live streams on TikTok lately, almost every day in the mornings, and it's going pretty good. I'm starting to pick up a somewhat regular audience. The most viewers I've had for a live stream was 40. Nice. Most of the time I get about 3 to 5 people now, so it's good. Although today it was strange. I was just playing some music. I was mostly doing debate reviews, but lately, just the last few, I was just playing some music and explaining the music that I'm playing. It's from the Commodore 64 era in the 1980s, 8-bit computer game music that's been remixed and enhanced. So anyway, this stuff's free on the internet. There's like 25,000 plus game titles, so there's lots of people making music for it, and it's just an endless list of these different remixes. But somebody in the live tech chat today said said that I'm cute and asked if I would like to date a Jewish man in his 40s. So of course I read the comment out and I thanked him and told him I'm flattered, but I'm happily married. So I wish you the best of luck in finding the right person. And it's funny how people on TikTok are treating it like a dating service.
Yeah,
well, since I'm talking about my garden channel, I just put the garden channel on the side. I chat on YouTube, so if you want to check that out,
I will.
I'm slowly growing my TikTok. I do not actually have enough followers yet to be able to do live streams. I'm a couple hundred short. I'm at like 740, and you need at least 1,000. So I'm working on it slowly but surely.
Yep. Well, and as always, Mage's Garden channel, along with the links for everyone who's been in the panel, will be in the description. So anybody who's watching this later can always go to the description and get the links for everybody in here.
Yeah,
I just subscribed to your channel, Mage Grey Wolf.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm planning on releasing my next video on Monday. I'm hoping.
Oh, that's exciting! I can't wait.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and do my uploads on Monday. This might be a good day.
Yeah, having a good schedule and it gives you a chance you can film throughout the week, early in the week, then edit it over the weekend and releasing Monday, that way you're not putting too much pressure and stress on yourself. I think that would sound good.
Yeah, and as I learn how to do the software, I'm just sticking to about every 2 weeks of doing videos, and that I might not include. I think I'm also going to do a garden tour near the beginning of each month. So it'll be about maybe 3 videos a month.
That's great. Nice. Yeah, it's good content to have, and you can explain how you plant them and how to take care of them, and then it becomes informational, and then that stuff catches on. People like that kind of stuff usually. I put my TikTok into the chat.
I already follow you.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I'd like to help you.
I saw you bitching about the gas company, or the gas station, where it's they weren't honoring if you use this card, you get this discount, and that is shitty. That's scummy, especially since gas is more expensive for you guys than it is for us here.
One of the replies that I got is a whole bunch of people commented on. There's a lot of people not happy about this, and I'm not surprised. But one of the comments was that, wow, it's possible to get angry at gas companies without swearing.
You are very wholesome. like that's something, like there are very few people that I've met that word comes to mind, but you are one of those that you just wholesome, like passionate, and very like strong in your moral values, but also wholesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I wanted, part of it is I just don't have a use for those words, but the other part of it is I want to present atheism in the best possible light, and I feel like one of the ways to go about doing that is to engage people in a better way, and leave out the foul language, and leave out the bathroom talk, and leave out things like that. And it does, I think it does help a lot. And there's a few people who've told me that they're now cutting back their swearing after seeing me do this. I'm not against it. I don't have a problem with people using the bad language. I just don't use it myself. And so far, it's been kind of interesting, because there's been a few times some Christians have accused me of, the apologist extremist types, accused me of being just like all the other atheists, swearing all the time. And I said, wait a sec, I know lots of atheists who don't swear. And then people coming up to my defense saying, oh, I've never heard him swear. Can you find some video footage of that?
Yeah,
Never
like
got a
Pixar
response.
didn't happen, and for me, my take on it is to show them that, I'm just like everybody else. There's tons
Yeah.
of people, there even Christians who swear. So,
Yeah.
like, even though my content tends to be, at least on TikTok, either like some of my sewing stuff or talking about like politics and just like the state of things, I still use the Kitty the Atheist, because like I won't hide the fact that I'm an atheist, and it can be a conversation starter. And I just feel like, I don't actually talk about religious topics too much. Like sometimes when it intersects with other things like politics, but for the most part, my content doesn't really engage with religion, which, is fine, because an atheist doesn't necessarily have to engage with religious content. Like for me, it's more about showing that I'm just like everybody else, doing my thing, having my hobbies, being a disabled person, and also like politics and how that intersects. And because like there is this like stereotypical way that people think atheists behave, and I kind of want to show them that that's not necessarily the case. It's like I have conversations with people about religion when they accost me randomly in the supermarket. And it happens more often than you think. A young person walking with a cane, and these well-meaning Christians come up and start saying, "Oh, like, have you heard the good word? Like, if you just give yourself over to Christ, you will be healed." And I'll have a civil conversation with them. I'm not going to get angry.
Yeah.
But then there are times that I'm not going to pull my punches either. And
Good.
like once it happened twice within 2 weeks, which is pretty
They
frequent.
won't pull their punches, so why should you have to pull yours? Yeah.
Well, and so for the first guy, he asked me what was wrong when he saw me come up behind him in the grocery store in the checkout line. And I was like, I have a degenerative nerve condition, like, because it's just kind of a blanket thing, because I'm not getting into my medical history with a stranger.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you mind if I pray for you? And I was like, you can if you want, but I'm an atheist. I don't think it's going to do anything. And I left it at that. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do it if you don't want me to. And I was like, thank you for, being respectful of that. I appreciate that. So like he checks out, and then I check out, and I walk out to my car, and he followed me to my car and wanted to talk to me about Christianity. And I'm like, so like we have this back and forth, and I basically kind of did the whole, there's a lot of evil in the world. That's part of the reason why I don't believe in an all-loving God. And he was like, oh, well, because of the fall of man and first sin and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, but can you really say that what they did was wrong? Like, I mean, honestly, like the thing they did that was wrong was eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So they couldn't have known right from wrong before they ate of the tree. So basically God wanted Adam and Eve mentally deficient, just loving and worshiping him, like not truly having the higher reasoning to ration between right and wrong, good and evil. He was like, well, Adam was smart. He named all the animals. And I said, so can an autistic 2-year-old. That doesn't mean they can enter into a legally binding contract.
Yep.
And it kind of like he stumbled there and kind of like pivoted a bit. And the conversation was pleasant enough, you know.
Yeah.
But he ended up leaving, you know, and I went about my day. And then like a week and a half later, it happened again. And I was waiting to get fabric cut at Walmart.
Was it the same guy?
No, it was a different person.
Okay.
This was a woman who she was walking past me and she turned, like she looked at me, saw me standing there with my cane, and then walked down the aisle and then backtracked to come talk to me. And I was a little annoyed with this woman, I'm not going to lie. So I kind of went with the whole, look, you may not be doing it consciously, but you are preying on disabled people. And she's like, what? No, I'm not. I'm like, look, I know you saw me, whether consciously or not, with my cane. You were walking away and then you backtracked. And like this, going to people who are disabled and telling them that if they just love Jesus enough, if they just pray enough, it's going to fix them. You don't know what their life is actually like. You don't know how much they might be struggling with the fact that they are not living up to society's expectations. And we have a very ableist society that does not look out for disabled people. I mean, fuck, like I even saw a TikTok earlier today of a girl going through the TSA to get on a flight, and they broke her cane. Like, and it's like, and it happens all the time. People who need mobility devices getting them damaged. And these are not cheap things. Like a cane is not the most expensive, but they'll break wheelchairs too. And those are incredibly expensive. And insurance will only cover one like every 4 years, if that. And so if it gets damaged, you're shit out of luck if you need that mobility aid. And they just don't care. I mean, even the government in the height of Delta and Omicron, they're coming out saying, well, like the people that are dying, they had a lot of comorbidities. They were, you know, they were already sickly people or disabled people. So it's not that bad because we're expendable. Like if you are not able-bodied, you are not seen as a full human being in the eyes of society. You just aren't. You are forgotten. In order to get disability in the United States, they check your bank account every month, and if you ever have more than $2,000 to your name, you will lose your benefits. You are expected to live in poverty if you are disabled and want help from the U.S. government.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There are people that will get divorced from their spouses just so that they are then under the income limits to be able to get disability benefits that they need, because it comes with health care. You get Medicare as well as, you know, well as a monthly check, like a stipend.
For the USA, that doesn't sound very united to me. You know, my dad's an amputee, below knee. He's still got his kneecap, luckily, because that means a lot less pain when he stands up for long periods of time. But so if you ever know anybody who's got getting a leg amputated, plead with the doctor to do everything they can to save that kneecap, because it'll really make a difference in the long run for their quality of life. But because most of the time they take the kneecap out in those situations because it's just easier to do the surgery that way. But anyway, my dad's a skeptic, and so he's also an atheist. He doesn't. He said that he's certainly open to the faith healing, but in the meantime, he's got to get on with his life. So science hasn't let him down. So, but he'll never turn that away. It's something.
Tad, what Kitty was saying, if I'm on disability as well. Well, and if I make more than $2,000 in a year, they'll kick me off of disability.
Yeah.
Not a month, a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just saying they check your bank account every month, and if you ever have more than $2,000 or you make more than $2,000 in a year, you lose you will lose benefits.
Yeah, if you have over 2,000 in the account at the end of the month, they just won't pay you, but they won't necessarily kick you off. But
if you make more than 2,000 in a year, they will.
Yeah.
Insurance companies aren't allowed to do that here in Canada. What's in your bank account is your private information.
Well, this isn't insurance. This is the government. Basically, it's disability for people. It comes with insurance, and it comes with, they pay you a little bit of money each month. But if you have any income, you know, again, over $2,000, you lose that. And if you try to scrimp by and have a little savings so that if something bad happens, like say your car breaks down or your air conditioner dies, you can't have a nest egg, because if you have more than $2,000, they will not pay you any money until your bank account goes less than $2,000.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's not allowed here. They can't do that here. Everyone's got equal benefit laws. The government doesn't care how much you got. If you qualify for the benefits, it's purely on the reasons of your medical situation or whatever retirement situation or whatever it is, wage loss if you got hurt, injured at work, that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
You know, just the whole
Canada
thing.
actually cares about its citizens, and it's going to it's going to be one of the last standing nations when late stage capitalism fails us and everything implodes.
Yeah, well, that's because apparently we're socialist, which is apparently a gateway to communism, but that's stupid politicians talking. Unfortunately, we do have right-wing religious conservative politicians here. They call themselves the progressive conservatives, which is an oxymoron, and they try very hard to change things and get rid of all this, privatize all these public services, and it's just because they are of this mindset. So we have our problems here too. It's not perfect. And when we had a prime minister named Stephen Harper for many, many terms, there's not term limits here, which I think is a good thing, actually. I think term limits is one of the problems with U.S. democracy.
Really?
But anyway, that's a whole different can of worms. But he was laying the foundation to convert Canada into a theocracy. Now, religious people often disagree with me with this one, but the reality is they were gradually removing funding for social programs that advance science, that help women in particular and other minority groups, and all these kinds of things are gradually getting rid of them. And the typical justification, even at the provincial level as well, we saw this even more so with the conservative parties there, that say, oh, social programs, you can't measure the profit, so we need to get rid of it. That's how cold they are about it. And so it's unfortunate that happens too. And it's really the wrong mindset for someone to get into politics to run the country like a business. No, a government is not a business. It may have business characteristics to it and some business aspects to it, but primarily, first and foremost, it's there as fundamentally to protect its citizens, as Kitty was just mentioning. And that's the fundamental role of government. And one of the easiest ways, there are multiple factors to consider, but one of the simplest ways you can gauge whether the government is actually succeeding in protecting all its citizens is to see if there are people without houses living on the streets.
The government's function is to protect its citizens. Try and tell that to a libertarian.
I am honestly, a libertarian.
I mean, I'm a libertarian too. I'm a libertarian socialist. Like, I believe in full bodily autonomy, you know. But
I think we might be talking about libertarian in a different definition here.
Well, yes, because you have libertarian and authoritarian, and then you.
Yeah, we are talking. I'm talking about libertarian, like the party.
Right, which they're really just Republicans that don't want to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And don't want laws to tell them what to do. They're like Ayn Rand Republicans. Like they're not real libertarians.
Boy. Yeah, it's messy. I know.
I'm not wrong.
I stick with. Oh yeah, I know you're not. I stick with the typical meaning. So you're talking about a libertarian party. We have a provincial party here in British Columbia, Canada. They call themselves the BC Liberals, not to be confused with the federal ones. The BC Liberals are actually a right-wing conservative party that disguise themselves as pro-freedom and non-authoritarian, and yet they're quite the opposite of these things. And at the federal level, the Federal Liberal Party has been quite pro-freedom and all this kind of stuff. And it seems like the right-wing conservative nutjobs are feeling so desperate that now they're just outright lying and saying it's all about oppression. And no, it's really not. They've actually been removing and fixing the all this crazy stuff that the progressive conservatives put in before, including the Department of Religion, which seems to have just quietly disappeared, which I'm glad about, because when I approached the Department of Religion that was created by the Conservative Party here in Canada, they told me that they don't have anything to do with atheists. And so I consider that to be discriminatory. And I was going to pursue that and make a big deal about it. But then the federal Liberals got elected and the department disappeared. So problem solved.
Now, I do want to say, like, going back to what you said before that about, you know, your issue with the term limits in the United States, there's only term limits for governors and the president, like senators and Congress members and the Supreme Court. There are no term limits for them.
Yeah.
And the only reason that we have term limits for the president is because FDR kept getting elected because, you know, he was doing social democratic policies that were actually helping people and got us out of the Great Depression. And the Republican Party realized they'd never win again if this guy was able to keep getting elected.
Wow. So it was basically because they're sore losers is why it was put in.
Yes.
And that seems like a really good reason to get rid of it. But yeah, I knew about the president. I didn't know governors had that restriction as well.
Yeah, like at least here in Florida, it might vary state by state.
Yeah, I think it depends on the individual state's constitution.
But in my state, a governor can serve 2 terms and then they cannot serve anymore. And the president can serve 2 terms, but Congress, whether you're in the House of Representatives or the Senate, there are no term limits for those politicians. So, and while I understand the whole, you know, if you put term limits, like I can see the argument from both sides. And while I love the idea of a Bernie Sanders being able to stay there and affect change for decades, for every Bernie Sanders, you get at least one Mitch McConnell. And so I personally think we should institute more term limits on our Congress people. But that's just me.
Yeah. What we really need is some method of making sure people are actually qualified for the job they're running for, but I don't know how we can do that.
It's less, my concern is less that they're qualified, which I mean would be nice, but I am more concerned with dark money in politics and getting just money in out of politics in general. Like I liked Andrew Yang's idea of like, you know, the freedom bucks or whatever, where every person got money they could then donate to the political party or candidate of their choosing. Because I think that, you know, having privately funded elections where you don't know where the money's coming from, you don't know what backroom deals are being made. And, you know, with Citizens United saying that money is free speech, you know, and corporations can spend on super PACs as much as they want, that heavily weights democracy against the people and more towards the wealthy and the corporations.
Yeah, I've suggested that
Are you wearing
the
pants?
candidates are paid through by taxes, and whatever they don't spend, and they're during
You're
their,
not wearing pants. Go put some pants on.
then whatever they don't spend during their campaign, it goes back to the people as a tax refund.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, truly, I
everybody
think,
gets the same amount to campaign with and do.
Yes. And, you know, also bringing up ranked choice voting, trying to get rid of the 2-party duopoly that we currently have, I think is important. The fact that, again, you have this revolving door with politicians coming from money and privilege. You're going to wear a skirt as a hat? Go for it. Do you, kiddo. Have fun.
Go for it. Cool.
You do you, boo.
Exactly. But no, so and you saw it with like fucking Dick Cheney and Halliburton, and it's like, you're in government and then you go and you lobby, for these corporations. Yes, you did. You're wearing underwear on your head as a hat?
Gonna look like
As
an
long as
alien.
it's clean,
As
whatever.
one does.
I mean, they're Jurassic Park boxer briefs. And so whatever, do you.
That's what I'm wearing too.
Dad usually gets dressed in the morning.
Yes, Dad usually gets dressed in the morning because he couldn't go to work if he wasn't wearing clothes. People would not like that.
I'm gonna walk.
You're so silly.
I'm gonna walk naked alone.
Yeah, unless you're a stripper, then I guess it's
He's not the right age for that.
Yeah, no. But anyways, back to politics. After the little palate cleanser.
Politics makes everybody so happy, right?
Yeah, no, honestly, like having Citizens United definitely hurt. That decision definitely hurt the working class and the poor because it weights democracy against us. You can say that technically we're a democracy where we can vote, but when our vote doesn't matter as much as the will of the corporations that are paying these politicians, and then they're getting away with shit that should be considered illegal or is illegal, but they get away with it anyway. Like Joe Manchin, he's getting kickbacks from the fossil fuel company, or fossil fuel industry, and then he votes against climate change, things. But his daughter was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company that makes the EpiPen, and a different pharmaceutical company was going to make essentially their version of the EpiPen. And there's a paper trail to this that she sent an email to them saying, hey, shelve that. Then my product's the only one on the market. I can raise the price, and then you can take a cut of the extra profits on top. There's a paper trail for this, but she is not in jail. And when Build Back Better was happening and, Biden had the chance to say, hey, I'm going to have my DA look into your daughter, like fucking strong arm these people, like bully pulpit this shit, like do what FDR did of, hey, I can either be your best friend or I can be your worst enemy, but you're going to come to the table and you're going to make this happen, one way or another.
And like on the dark money thing, imagine what if we had a president who was against all this dark money and corporate money into politics, using the bully pulpit to bring attention to that. I mean, maybe he wouldn't be able to fix it himself, but just imagine that kind of impact.
And I mean, I saw something, and like I know I mentioned this on a stream before, but I'm gonna say it again because it is so true. I saw a post on Instagram where someone had said basically the Republican Party is the mass shooter and the Democrats are the Uvalde police. They're standing around doing nothing while massacre is happening. Thoughts and prayers is all we're getting from the Democratic Party. Fucking Nancy Pelosi coming out and reading a poem. It's like, bitch, that's not going to help protect people with uteruses from, government overreach getting in their lives. It's not going to protect gay marriage. It's not going to protect queer people from us going back to having anti-sodomy laws where you get locked up for being with a person in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah, and like's been pointed out, there isn't any reason that they didn't codify Roe versus Wade into law anytime in the last 50 years. Why did it have to wait until the Supreme Court reversed it before they even bothered to talk about it?
I'll tell you why. Obama said that it was, he was going to, day one, he was going to codify Roe. And then he went back on that, saying that Roe isn't his top priority right now. He had a supermajority and could have gotten it done, and he failed. But the fact of the matter is the imminent threat of people losing rights that they were born with is an angle that they want to use for fundraising. When Roe was overturned, tons of people, myself included, got fundraising emails and text messages saying Roe's overturned, send us money so we can help fight. It's like, but you control all 3 houses, like all 3 seats of government right now.
Well,
and
I
while
think
I
that
understand,
I think that actually backfired on the Democrats because it put people off so badly.
Absolutely. And while like the Republicans do actually have institutional advantages for minority rule, especially considering, they denied Merrick Garland his seat on the Supreme Court, but before Ruth Bader Ginsburg's body was even cold, they were rushing in Amy Coney Barrett. Fucking hypocrites. But we already knew that. And, they even went on saying, you can quote me that, if there's a vacancy in the Supreme Court during an election year, it should be up to the next president. Fucking Lindsey Graham said that, and he's like, you can quote me. And then people played it back. He's like, oh, well, see, what happened was the sun was in my eyes and a new phone, who this? Honestly, it's disgusting. And so the Supreme Court, like, all this time they're like, oh, these activist judges legislating from the bench, but that's exactly what they want to do. It is projection. Every time a Republican accuses the other side of doing something, it's because that's what they want to do or what they are actively doing. Oh, it's so frustrating.
I think Roe and Wade needs to have been made part of the Constitution a long time ago, and so I think the politicians have missed that boat multiple occasions. And now here's what's happened: if nobody cares to codify it constitutionally, then it will eventually get overturned. That's just the nature of it. So that's a real big problem there. But like you're saying, if he's got Joe Biden has all this control, this is a great time to add things like that to the Constitution. I sometimes wonder, though, if political parties are afraid to do that because they're worried that the other party will then add other stuff to the Constitution.
Biden doesn't have the numbers to actually do that, while he does control all 3 houses, because he refuses to essentially reform or get rid of the filibuster. The minority party can basically say, nah, you're not doing that. And they can cock block everything unless you have 60 votes.
And a big problem is that while technically the Democrats have a majority in the Senate, it's actually a 50-50 split with the vice president having the deciding vote in a tie. But close. 2 of the people who got elected claiming they were Democrats aren't really Democrats. They're just available to the highest bidder. So the Democrats can't even depend on getting the 50 votes. A lot of stuff they can only get 48 votes.
Because Kyrsten Sinema is basically just, a prostitute to corporations. Like, she just takes money and then does corporate bidding. Joe Manchin is a very conservative Democrat, a blue dog Democrat. And he's the one whose daughter was involved in that pharma scandal. And you have an in there where you could have strong-armed him saying, I will let this slide, or I can have my DA investigate your daughter's wrongdoings as CEO of this company if you come to the table and make a deal. Biden didn't do that because he wants to play buddy-buddy with everybody, and he still believes that bipartisanship is something we should be striving for. The only time we get bipartisanship is when they're collaborating to fuck the rest of us over. Those of us that don't have yachts, those of us that don't make 7 figures a year, hell, even 6 figures a year. Like, those are the people that are suffering, and the politicians aren't doing anything to help them. But yes, while it is true that Biden, he has the presidency and, we have control of the House and the Senate. In the Senate, it is super close. And because of an archaic rule that was essentially meant to help protect, the strength of slave states, the filibuster. And the filibuster is an archaic rule, but they brought it back during Obama, essentially. And it used to be like you actually had to talk. And so you could block something, but only for so long. But then they're like, we're gonna say you don't actually have to do that. Just say you want to block it, and unless you have 60 votes to overcome it, then nothing gets done. And it follows the same pattern that the Republican Party does of they go in and they will defund programs. They will defund government. They will shut down things and everything and then point to when it doesn't work. Oh, see, it's broken, so we should privatize it. It's what they did with the VA. They defunded the VA and then they point to it saying, see, we can't do socialized healthcare because the government can't do it. It's like they don't have the funding to do it properly. That's why it's a shit show, because they've been so defunded and gutted. But they point to it and they're like, oh, we should privatize it. And they want to privatize Medicare. And they want to privatize Social Security, which would lead to disastrous consequences for people that rely on those programs in order to survive.
And the Republicans will put all sorts of regulations and government oversight on things they want to fail, but they will strip all those same kind of oversights from things like environmental protection.
We just had a ruling from the Supreme Court that the Environmental Protection Agency, the government agency that is supposed to watch and regulate over like the environment in this country, does not have the constitutional right to regulate carbon emissions from fucking companies. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The EPA, their whole thing is to regulate emissions and to regulate. My partner used to work for the EPA. And there was a time, and like, people don't fucking get it. There was a time he was going and he was getting water samples, okay, from an area here in Florida, and they were coming up with toxic chemicals. So he followed the stream back to an illegal dumping site where this guy was basically just dumping waste on his property. So following protocol, got a cop, went, with the cop to the guy's door saying, hey, I'm from the EPA. This is an illegal dumping site. We need you to sign this so that we can come in and clean it up. And that'll be the end of it. The guy greeted them with a shotgun at the door. It was like, basically, get the fuck off my property. So the EPA took him to court. And he riled up all of his neighbors saying, this is government overreach. They're trying to tell me what I can and can't do on my own property, blah, 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 blah. So they're all there, like, riled up, on his side. Until they realized that his illegal dumping ground was poisoning the local water supply that their kids were drinking and bathing in. And he ended up getting like a really high fine. Like the EPA was just like, hey, sign off on it. We'll clean it up. Don't do it again. And that was going to be the end of it. But then with fines and legal costs and everything like that, it ended up being like over $1 million, like that he was going to have to pay for this whole fiasco. And all of his neighbors turned on him once their eyes were open to the fact that, no, this isn't about his right to dump shit on his own property, because your property has defined lines, but water sources that run through it don't. Any toxins you put on your property don't end when your property line ends. Like, it is all interconnected, which, like, I am very much bodily autonomy. The one area that I say, no, you don't have a choice in is vaccinations, because it's not just you that you're putting at risk. Doing drugs, go for it. God bless. Do all the drugs. I don't care, as long as you're not getting behind the wheel of a car. If you want to sit on your couch and get fucking blitzed out of your mind on any substance, I don't care. Your body, your choice. But the minute you're dragging other people into it, that's where I draw the line, because no one person is an island. And to me, not getting vaccinated is akin to driving drunk. You might make it home fine, not hurting anybody, or you might end up causing the deaths of innocent people. And it's a negligence that you are doing. And I feel like it should be prosecuted as such, because you are making a conscious choice that is putting others at risk.
They're polluting the environment. Yep. And
so, I mean, that again, like, I think whatever changes you want to do, cosmetic procedures, go for it. Like, I don't care, tattoos, piercings. I don't care if you want to get an abortion. I don't care if you're 25, decide you never want kids, and you want to get a hysterectomy because you have painful periods. Go for it. Like, I do not care. It is your body. Tweak your consciousness with substances. Great. Have fun. Again, just make sure that you're not responsible for small children where they could get hurt because you're out of commission. And make sure you're not getting behind the wheel of a car. Otherwise, do you, boo. Don't care. But when you're doing things that put others at risk, that's where I draw the line. You know, your bodily autonomy ends when it impacts another person. Basically, it's the same concept of your right to swing your fist ends at my face. You can fucking swing your arm around. You're free to do that all day long. But the minute it makes contact with my face, well, now you've just committed assault and battery.
Yep.
Oh, hello. Didn't see you come in.
Hi, Ken.
Diana.
I just got home. I just got home from dialysis.
Okay, well, you're sounding pretty good.
Say again, honey?
You're sounding pretty good.
Yeah,
you don't
I'm
sound as
trying.
wiped out as you usually do after that.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. I mean, it's been a year, so I'm kind of getting into the swing of things. Now, I stopped at the local Squall Mart and got stuff to bake a birthday cake for myself for tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Purple.
Happy
honey.
birthday!
Oh,
Yep.
happy
birthday to you too, Diana.
Yeah, we've got a spate of July birthdays around here.
Yep.
Here's a happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
I'm not up for
pretty
singing.
much every day
sorry.
for the next week, there's someone in our community having a birthday.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, though, this being old thing is tolerable. It's being broken I can't stand.
For real.
Preach.
Yeah.
I'm not old. I'm broken. So I fucking feel you. We here.
Yeah.
I
got you.
I hear that. I hear that.
You know, and I never realize I'm old until I realize I'm talking to someone younger than my daughter.
There you go.
Speaking of being broken, I got to take off here. I got to go to a dentist appointment. Broken tooth.
Oh, God, that sounds like so much fun.
Okay, I hope they get that fixed up for you.
Hopefully.
Good luck. Hopefully they give you the gas, because that's always a fun time. I mean, nitrous is a blast, you know? Like, if you got to go to the dentist, might as well enjoy it.
There you go.
I like that.
Nice.
Jesus.
All right, have fun, all.
Okay,
Take
take
care,
care,
honey.
sweetness.
Thanks for
2
keeping
spam
me
calls in a row.
Oh, my. What is that? Is that...
I think it's a cake of weed.
Oh, okay, okay. I could deal with that.
Yes. Today is Purple's birthday. You want to say happy birthday?
I'll take a big piece of that.
Yeah.
Just looking for birthday cake in my meme collection. There isn't a heck of a lot here.
Yeah, there's a candle on that cake.
Here we go. Birthday snakes.
All right.
Birthday snakes.
So
Birthday snakes. I did not know birthday snakes were a thing.
I didn't know either, but I had to save this in my meme collection.
Okay,
It's just too
we're
good.
going to have to find out where that came from so that we can send them for Nervardia's birthday.
Yeah.
I actually sent this meme to her. She was really happy on her birthday. Yeah, she's seen it already.
I was just talking to Nacha this morning. I don't get to do that as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Martin's comment was in relation to the cake of weed there.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably.
There's a bit of a lag between us and the YouTube bit. The YouTube's kind of slow today, so we've got like a 2-second lag.
I'll bring them.
Oh,
I'll bring
God.
2-second lag is not bad. You want to talk about like a 30 minute to a minute lag?
I don't know why I have this
one time I was on your show, honey. I think the lag was close to a minute and a half. BJ, how you doing, Beach?
There we go. There's the weed.
Yep.
Oh, God.
That is an amazingly big, thick cake.
Yes. Let me put the ice cream in the freezer.
And by the looks of it, if you don't get to it quickly enough, it might just start smoking itself.
So my son's over here.
Candle burns down.
My son's over here talking about a creepy crawly cake with gummy worms and gummy snakes and gummy bugs.
Oh, we did that for my grandfather one year, since he was born on Halloween.
I was going to say, I know several people who would probably like that for a Halloween party.
Yeah, my mom made this cake. It was a graveyard with all these gummy stuff, and had little cookies for the for tombstones and all that.
And reference to cakes and baked goods is the only time moist is acceptable.
Oh, God.
And in gardening, for when you're talking about soil.
Gummy dentures. If cheesecake is good, but cake is a lie, what is a cheesecake?
Okay,
a good lie.
A cheesecake is pie pretending to be cake.
I don't care. I love cheesecake.
Yeah, me too.
Cheesecake is great.
Yep.
Oh, so Richard he was like, I'm a spider from outer space. And I'm like, oh no, that's so scary. He's like, just kidding, it's just me. And I'm like, oh, whew, you scared me.
Anybody get this South Park reference? Powdered donut pancake surprise. Eric Cartman's mom makes it for him all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, come here, you.
It's been a while since
It
I've seen
seemed
South
vaguely
Park.
familiar, but I couldn't remember what it was from.
Okay, there we are. Oh my.
Now that looks like it's ready for a party.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Lego cake. Kitty, your son might like to see this.
Oh, that one's cool.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently now he wants me to make him that cake for his birthday. So thanks for that, Randolph.
Now, does this look like the ocean to anybody? It's a cake.
Yep.
I love these illusions. Oh, and here's a pun. Cake moss.
There we are.
Oh, I'm trying to find.
Oh, and I think I'll leave it with this one. A cat saying, I regret nothing.
Working around over here.
What stream would be complete without a cat? I did make a cat alert earlier for the other guy with his cat. So
Yes, gets Crasher when his cat was there.
Oh my.
So I'm gonna have to head off. Thank you for hosting this.
Did I scare you off?
No, you didn't. I was saying that I got to get going before you came in. I decided to hang around just a little longer because you showed up. But I do have to get going. I hope that things are getting better for you with your kidneys.
Well, I got a clearance to go for the panel as far as a transplant list is concerned.
Oh, good,
So,
good. I hope that pans out.
I hope so.
Fingers
I
crossed.
really do. And then we'll see what happens as far as things go. I guess I'll get a call from them at some point as to whether or not I'm on the list, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, follow them up from time to time. Don't let that go, because sometimes there can be all kinds of reasons they can fit you in if you're calling, and because sometimes,
yeah,
you know, right?
Well,
Match.
Purple has volunteered a kidney, so thank
Wow.
you. Thank
Are you
you,
to a match?
dear.
Are you to a match?
Yeah, we don't know yet. They
yeah, we don't
haven't
know
done
yet.
testing on me yet to see if there's a match.
That is incredibly generous of you.
A half dozen people in our community have offered, so
Did
it's just
you-
a matter of
yeah.
finding out who's the best match.
That's
They're jumping
fantastic.
through about a dozen different hoops right now just to get her on the list of her kidney.
Yeah, the donation center though also has a program that even if I don't match Diana, I could donate one to somebody else, so that as soon as one comes available that is a match for her, she'd be at the top of the list for it.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
So basically, they'll accept mine as a trade-in.
nice.
Low mileage.
I remember seeing some kind of article there showing growing kidneys in the lab, and they're successful at doing it. The kidneys come out completely white, not because they haven't been used, right? And they're doing this, and they transplanted them into rats, and it worked or something. So I guess they want to do human trials. I don't know where that's at, but that would be pretty awesome if that can work.
Yeah, I've heard about them trying to grow kidneys in the lab, but it's still pretty early on.
Yeah.
Well, I planted a bag of kidney beans. I figured with that many, there's got to be at least one that's going to match.
All right. Take care, everyone. I guess Diana will be back. It's good talking with all of you. Thank you.
Honey.
Okay. Good to have you in here.
Always a pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, and Jenny's back.
Hi, kids. It was a lovely, horrible drive home in the sun.
Hi, kids. I'm back. I fell off the line.
Yeah, I don't dare even look out the window. It's way too bright out there.
Oh, it's like gloomy and gray outside, and I'm totally okay with that. I usually prefer days like this.
Yeah, well, I'm
here.
sensitive to the UV light, so that even days that's overcast, if I don't wear the sunglasses with the UV blocker, I still get headaches.
Like you can see outside, like it's grayish and gloomy.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit brighter out here right now, but it'll probably come my way in the afternoon later.
Yeah, the sky is kind of gray with like little hints of like a peachy color, you know, from some of the clouds.
Yeah, I was hearing thunder this morning, but
Oh, it
didn't
was
really get
pouring
anything.
earlier.
Oh my! What you making, hon?
I am making a hat.
Oh yay!
Yes, it is basically a, bucket hat. Right now I have to go through and sew. I ironed all the seam allowances flat, and now I'm just sewing them down flat to, make it less bulky and nice and neat.
Yay!
And it's a mix of Baby Yoda and Stitch from like Lilo and Stitch.
Mm.
And I lost one of my side panels somewhere. Oh, it fell. See?
Yay!
That's what you should name your sewing machine. Stitch.
Yeah.
I mean, it works. It's not a bad idea.
Hmm.
The only thing that I don't like about this sewing machine is when you're doing a back stitch, it goes really, really slow, regardless of what you have the speed set at, because it does have an adjustable speed. The back stitch is always like the slowest speed, whereas I see some other machines that you can go back and forth really, really quickly. But it's such a minor thing. Like, it's obviously not a big deal. It just, one of those little things that I'm like, I wish my machine would do the quick back stitch instead of it being like chunk, chunk, and then I can go forward fast and then chunk, chunk, chunk.
Oh my!
Okay,
No,
Doorknobhead
poor
says
kitty.
you should throw a kitty in. I
would be
think that
so
would make it
mean.
difficult to wear. Yeah, the hat would keep jumping off your head.
Like the poor kitty.
And yeah, I think Commander 401's right. If you name your sewing machine Stitch, then Disney will probably sue you.
I don't think so. It's not like the kind of word that you can copyright.
Yeah.
I've been kind of wondering if Disney's going after anybody who's named their cat Mufasa.
Pretty sure it was a name before.
If Mufasa is a common name in Africa, no, they can't. You can't.
I mean, to be fair, Disney did try to fucking trademark Dia de los Muertos, even though like it was a fucking Mexican cultural tradition for a long time before the movie Coco came out.
And what happened to that?
Oh, it went nowhere. They got laughed out of court.
See?
Yeah.
You can draw any. You can bring anything to court you want. I mean, you're gonna win.
Disney's current approach seems to be you bring everything to court with the chance that you might win one of them.
Yeah.
That's what companies usually do with trademark infringements and things like that. Is they blast it with a shotgun and just to see what sticks.
I hate that.
There really should be.
A company has got to have a record, a known record of itself defending its trademarks. If it doesn't, then the courts will consider it not a significant issue, and they will abandon the trademark for you. So that companies kind of have to do that.
Mickey Mouse should have been in the public domain years ago, but because of money being funneled from Disney to politicians, copyright and trademark laws have been tweaked so they get to keep their IP longer than they really had any business keeping.
Yeah, I think it was after the Hercules
about 100 years.
What was that?
How old is Mickey Mouse now? About 100 years?
I think that's about right. I think he came out first in the 1920s.
Yeah, almost 100 years.
Okay, then. Yeah, it should be in the public domain, definitely. I don't know.
Okay, according to Google, Mickey Mouse is 93 years old.
Ah.
Well, maybe in 7 years we'll be able to do Mickey Mouse porno.
Those already exist. Rule 34, my dear.
I mean, legally.
Oh, yeah. When they got all the Disney had a thing not too long ago, because after getting all of the Marvel characters, they tried to trademark Thor. You know, it's like, yeah, that's from a mythology that predates you by about 1,000 years.
Yeah.
See, I don't blame them for trying that, though. That's how you make money. Okay, is doing things.
I blame them for trying that kind of crap.
No, it's fine that they do it. The courts, if the courts would have approved that I would have been pissed about. But the courts are smart and said no.
No, the older I get, the more post-capitalist I get, honestly. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to actually hate capitalism.
Well, I am not at all a fan of predatory capitalism. And
yeah, I was about to say that I do make the distinction there of predatory capitalism.
Yeah.
That, capitalism that actually values the workforce and values labor as being, a valuable resource, that is still workable.
That's also why I say
who does that anymore?
Yeah, at this point now, the only value we have is basically our bodies being crushed down to make the grease that oils the wheels of the capitalist machine.
But that's also the reason why I say that socialism and capitalism can actually be compatible.
Right.
No, they can. Like, well-regulated capitalism with strong social safety net programs, I have no problem with. You know, I don't mind the free market deciding whether you want to be an Android or an iPhone user. Like, as long as there are regulations in place that the devices are safe and not going to like blow up and take half your face off, then cool. Like, regulations to make sure consumer products are safe, and then you can decide then if you want an LG or a Sony TV, whether you want AMD or Intel or iPhone or Android. Like, I'm fine with, the free market deciding which devices are better as long as they're all safe. But when you have a profit motive attached to people's lives, a la like correctional facilities, healthcare, like, that's where it's an issue. And we're going to go back to fucking corporate towns where, you're getting paid in corporate bucks that aren't useful anywhere other than at the corporate store.
Actually, Amazon literally was proposing corporate towns again and had to be reminded that we have tried this in history and it didn't work out very well.
Celebration, Florida is a corporate town built by Disney. I had a friend that used to live there. till he died.
Yeah, no, Celebration, they have their own police force. They have their own hospital, their own school. It is essentially Disney Town.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it did break away finally from the Disney ownership and is a community unto itself at this point. I'm not positive exactly what the structure is, but that's my friend seemed to indicate. And he was an old smart guy, so.
They did to some degree because they do have elected city officials. But that was that whole big thing about, Disney having the special tax district that Ron DeSantis, wanted to tell them that they couldn't have that anymore.
I was just thinking about him.
But that's just going to pass that bill on to the people that live there. It's not going to hurt Disney, and it's actually more likely to hurt Florida in general than it is to hurt Disney.
It is, because basically it means that, while Disney was paying all the money to upkeep all the infrastructure in this area, the state of Florida now has to do that.
Well, Ron DeSantis is not particularly smart.
No, but he has aspirations to be president, and he is just as bad as Trump, but he's also more clever and more savvy than Trump. He actually scares me a lot.
Yeah, he's
if
more
he becomes
dangerous.
president.
That scares me too.
So we can go from the country being Texas to the country being Florida.
Hey, nerdy.
Nerdy
Another
dear, how you
scary thing
doing?
about that is that Ron DeSantis has now been so successful in fundraiser that he now has more money in his war chest than either the Democratic or the Republican National Party.
And more than Trump. Trump had more than both the Dems or the GOP. And DeSantis has surpassed Trump because basically when it came to how he legislated, Trump was a run-of-the-mill Republican. It's just he was completely fucking unhinged. And the corporations were fine with him, and the people in power were fine with him because they get their tax cuts, they get, their deregulation. But their issue was his tweets and his being an unhinged man-child.
Yeah.
With DeSantis, they get all the same policies, but with somebody that is savvy enough and charismatic enough to essentially trick the people while they're being fleeced.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I fully believe all along that, the reason that the Republicans put Trump up was they knew he would be a clown and they would keep people from noticing anything Congress was doing. But I think they wound up getting a bit more crazy than they had bargained for. So now they're trying to figure out a way of how do they get Trump to say that he's not going to run again so that they can put DeSantis up.
But now Trump is trying to cut ahead of them because he sees the writing on the wall. Because that is one thing, Trump is savvy in some ways, especially when it comes to, branding and, his image and his followers. And so now he's saying that, at first he was bad-mouthing DeSantis, but then he realized that DeSantis is kind of a fan favorite. So he's thinking, what if I make DeSantis my VP? And that would basically completely implode the GOP's plan.
Or Trump knows that he has to run because this is how he's going to avoid prosecution.
I honestly feel that Trump is even less worried about the prosecution than he is about the idea that people would stop paying attention to him.
Well, you got a point.
That too, but here's the thing. If you listen to what they were saying during the January 6th hearing, Trump did all of that. He instigated essentially an insurrection because he was afraid he was going to be prosecuted if there was a peaceful transfer of power. But the grand irony is it wasn't likely to happen. Sure, they tried to impeach him and remove him from office and prevent him from running again, but that was where it was going to end. There would have been no actual consequences to him other than he couldn't run for office again had he actually been impeached. But by going through this, people dying, and essentially an attempted coup, an insurrection, at the heart of our democracy, and that is what has them actually investigating him. If he had just fucking wandered off essentially, to Mar-a-Lago to get his fucking dick stroked by all the people that want to be in proximity to him, none of this investigation would have happened. And, there wouldn't have been a January 6th committee if there wasn't a January 6th.
Okay.
Yep. Well, and Beach has a good point here, too, is how much money is coming from other countries to American politicians. I mean, even Biden was over there now courting Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's what pisses me off is the out-of-district money that is allowed now.
I'm fine with small dollar donations coming from out of district. It's like if you see a politician like, say, John Fetterman, if I want to send $35 to John Fetterman's campaign, then I'm fine with that. But when you're talking about these huge sums of money going to these, of dark money going to these super PACs, no, absolutely not.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess, okay. What I'm thinking is if you can send money from out of district, you can run from out of district, and you've got Mehmet Oz doing just that.
Well, it's like I was saying.
Well, he bought a house.
You just have it through taxes. So if somebody wants to run, they get the tax money, a set amount. So there's no running for you. Don't go for donations. You don't try and get money from some other source or through your own private thing. You just run from that money. And if you happen to have leftovers, it goes back to the taxpayers.
I think that's really the only way to do it, is to make sure that everybody has the same amount, so that nobody can be doing private fundraisers. Because as long as politicians are doing individual fundraisers, there's no way you're going to be able to track where all the money came from.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's going on that way, the only thing we should be talking about as blue people is how the Republican Party is destroying our democracy, taking away our civil rights, and working towards becoming a fascist state. That's the only thing we should be hyping, because that is the most important thing about this election. If they win, we're finished.
Yes, the grand experiment is over.
Understand that.
Well,
the United States democracy is over.
I'm not altogether sure that we're not finished, whether or not they win.
Well,
maybe, but we have to try.
Yeah, I think you're right, Diana, that even if the Republicans are defeated this time around and in 2024, it doesn't necessarily, they're not going to go away. They're going to keep trying. But if the Republicans manage to win both houses of Congress this time around, then they're going to make sure that we can never have a fair election again.
Right.
They're already trying that on the state level.
The whole bloom, no matter who, is not going to work.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
The problem that I'm seeing is that they're not running any decent candidates. The choices we are given aren't making it either.
Well, I think right now the Democrats don't have anyone they can really put up. But I think what does need to happen is Biden needs to announce that he's going to retire at the end of his term and will not seek re-election. Even if we don't know who they're going to run in 2024, I think Biden needs to make it clear that he will not be the candidate.
Oh, the Democrats have people they can run. They just want to suppress the people who actually do a good job.
Well, the Democrats are having a hard time the Democrats have a hard time just with anyone who has the nationwide name recognition that people would actually support.
I mean, my thought is, who are the Democrats going to run? Harris? Please, no.
Buttigieg or Harris would probably be their first pick.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean, that anybody who would be known
would be a great candidate, but he would never, ever win. Look at the condition of the LGBT flashback or blowback that's going on now. Pete Buttigieg would never win. Never, ever, ever.
Right. Yeah.
Neither would Kamala Harris.
Yeah. That's anybody who is known in every state already has so many negatives against them that they can't win.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Republicans have to find somebody, who still has a clean enough record.
Democrats.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep. The Democrats need to find somebody who still has a clean enough record, and build the name recognition over the next 2 years so that everyone knows who they are. But the problem is that the DNC, it's why we got Hillary Clinton. They want to stick to people who are going to, keep the corporate money coming in.
What really pissed me off with the Democrats is how they tried to suppress the third party in one place where they got enough votes. The people signed the petition they wanted. Then they tried calling these people to get them to take their name off the petition and pretending to be that party. You ever heard about that one?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's been going wild. The Milwaukee County Sheriff who won a number of years ago, David Clark, was an absolute dyed-in-the-wool Republican, but he ran under the Democratic ticket, and he won.
And the Democrats are basically doing the same thing within their own party to anyone who's progressive. So.
Yeah, supporting, like with Roe v. Wade on the line, supporting an anti-choice Democratic candidate in the House when you had a pro-choice progressive running in that district. Like, that tells me all I need to know about fucking Nancy Pelosi. But there are some, at least in the state level, Joanna, oh fuck.
McCluskey?
No. Hold on, I just saw a thing about her. It was Joanna McClinton. She serves Southwest and West Philly. And she went off, like she gave a speech, in their state house, basically saying, like, you guys are passing things to keep people from voting, and you're also trying to silence, half the people and, half of the citizens, but yet not even half the people in here have a uterus. Like, the fuck's wrong with you? And she just went off on them, and like, she was great. Like her, Nina Turner, and then, oh man, what is her name? She's got the clipboard, and like, she'll take politicians to task.
Katie Porter?
Katie Porter, yes, thank you. I fucking love Katie Porter.
Yeah, I had it as soon as you said clipboard.
Like her little fucking whiteboard or whatever, she's just like, boom. She comes with the receipts and she goes hard. Like, I would love to see her run for president. Well, I would vote for her in a fucking hot second.
There's a movement to that effect starting up, so get ready to vote for her.
Oh, fuck yeah. If she runs.
She's the best choice right now.
I mean, I love Katie Porter. And like, she could pick Joanna McClintock for her running mate, or Nina Turner for her running mate. Like, Nina Turner's got national recognition, but this Joanna lady, she, she's gone viral on Twitter with, how she was just going off about this is fucking ridiculous and speaking, truth to power on the state house floor. And I thought that was great.
Unfortunately, I think what Biden proves is that the DNC is more concerned with maintaining the status quo than they are with winning.
I've been saying that for years.
I'm just saying that Biden proves it.
Mm-hmm. If the Democrats actually wanted to back somebody, a nobody who's a populist, they could very easily do that, and person would probably be able to win.
They could have backed Bernie Sanders.
That has been true for both parties for all time. Everybody wants the status quo. Come on.
Right. Yeah, this is why the Democrats could have backed Bernie Sanders, but they knew that he was going to piss off some big industries who would stop giving them money.
Yeah, imagine if you had all the news outlets, it's supporting Sanders instead of crapping on him 24/7.
Yeah, well, that would require us to have a news outlet that isn't owned by one of the aforementioned corporations.
Yeah.
And that's the
24-hour
problem now,
news
is that
cycle.
all of the media is all owned by the same corporations that the, both political parties are courting.
Yeah, I mean, they're corporations in and of themselves, so they obviously want to protect the status quo and their power.
Yeah, and this is where we have a big problem in that the corporatists, the Democrats, are comfortable no matter who comes out on top. They really don't care.
Well, if they keep this up, the whole trying to hold on to powers is going to blow up in their faces eventually.
Well, the darn thing is, explicit power maybe, but there's the implicit power going on too, where the corporations. If I hate to talk that way because it sounds so what's the word? Say again.
Conspiratorial.
Thank you. That's a good word. But yeah, I mean, they are running the show, and they don't even explicitly hold power.
I mean, honestly, the Democrats are paid to lose. The Democrats are the Uvalde police, while the Republicans are the mass shooter.
I don't know, Doorknobhead. That's an interesting question. Doorknobhead wonders if the powers that be would be less likely to assassinate a woman, mafia rules.
I don't think the gender would matter if she got into that position.
I sometimes wonder if these corporate Democrats want to lose.
Well, I mean, it's much easier for the Nancy Pelosi's of the party to fundraise off of tragedy, like kids dying and promising gun reform,
Of course, yeah.
Or losing civil rights.
They make all these promises so they can look good, and then they allow the Republicans to get in the way so they don't have to actually do anything.
The Republicans may have made their fatal mistake in letting Roe versus Wade be pulled out. It was their number one campaign tagline and money raiser for the last 50 fucking years. Now it's settled. And at the same time they did that, they ignited about 2/3 of the American woman voting public to want to kick ass.
Yeah, that's quite possible.
I mean, I was already very engaged in politics and have been for years, but this decision would absolutely, if I was more like my sister, who doesn't really think about politics, doesn't engage in the process, then this would have lit the fire under me,
And for the Democrats, that's what's going to decide the midterms and 2024 is, will enough of the people who normally don't bother to vote decide this was important enough to vote?
Well, I certainly hope it works.
The Republicans basically will always get 30% of the people. And that 30% is going to show up and vote no matter what.
Yeah.
Well,
so the Democrats need to get the voter turnout to be like 70% in order for them to have a chance of winning.
Which is why the Republicans are working so hard to suppress the votes.
Right.
Yeah.
But if this was a big enough issue that, most of the women in the country will decide to vote this year, that could actually make the difference of whether or not the Democrats could hold on to the Senate.
Unfortunately, though,
no, I'm frightened of that whole thing.
When it comes down to it, either it'll be enough or it'll be almost enough, and then they find a way to fucking suppress women from voting.
Well, and we know that's going to happen, that if the Republicans win, they will suppress minorities from voting in any future elections.
Yes. Yeah. And Jane, yeah, you got it.
Any marginalized group. if you are disabled, if you are a person of color, if you are queer, you know, if you are not Judeo-Christian, like you are on the fucking chopping block, my dudes.
Well, and that's the one I really don't get is that the Republicans still manage to carry most of the Southern black vote. And
I don't get it either.
Why can these people not realize that not only do the Republicans not do anything to make their life better, that they are constantly trying to roll it back to the 1850s?
Honestly, propaganda, thinking that, you know, it's not about the social things, it's about tax cuts. And essentially these people have been sold like the grand American dream that, you know, you too might one day go from the gutter to a McMansion and be very well off. And that's why you should care about an estate tax, because one day you might have an estate.
Yeah.
And so you don't want it to be taxed.
Well, I think that's a much lesser part of it than the religion is. That I think, you know,
no, the religion is a big deal too, but
Yeah.
I'm saying outside of that.
Yeah. Well, and I think the problem with the religion that we can't get past, you know, is that the Christians are taught that it doesn't matter if you've got a shitty life now because you'll be rewarded in heaven.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter if you're voting for people who are making your life shit.
Yeah, which is how the RCC held on to power for how many centuries, how many millennia? Absolutely, Doorknobhead. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I think
Sorry, I
maybe
know
we
it's your
should wrap it
birthday
up here.
stream.
Yep.
And we got on to
we've been going
politics.
over 3.5 hours, so.
Not enough.
Well, it's enough because it's my birthday, so.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Diane, in case I don't see you tomorrow, happy birthday.
Say again, honey?
If I don't see you tomorrow, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Are you planning on trying to do a stream tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Wednesday's regularly scheduled. So I've been feeling a little better this last
You're looking a little better.
week. Say again?
You're looking a little better.
Oh, that's you. I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
you're sounding better. You're just sounding like you're not nearly so fatigued.
Well, that too. And I'm finally starting to get somewhere with the pain. I saw my doctor yesterday morning, and he put in referrals to a couple pain clinics.
Good.
So
Good.
I've got to call out and find out exactly what's going to happen. Do I have to call them? Are they going to call me? That sort of thing. The one thing I'm pissed off about is David actually wrote me an oxycodone prescription, but the chemist, the pharmacist, wouldn't fill it.
Oh,
Why not?
He said it was too high a dose.
It's not up to that.
That's not his job if that's the dose the doctor wrote it for.
What dose was it? Oxycodone. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, because the idea David had, he's limited in the number of pills that he can prescribe to me. So he prescribed the 10 milligram dose and said, yeah, if it even works, you could even quarter those pills. And that way you get, more than a month's worth one prescription.
That you can make sure you've, got at least one for every day if you split them up.
Yeah. So I've got to call the chemist today, find out if anybody's changed their minds.
Jeez.
And then see what the hell goes on from there.
That kind of crap pisses me off.
Say again, huh?
That kind of crap pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
but-
get 35 milligram oxys a month, and I break them in half. I only take half at a time, so 2.5 milligrams. It's like just enough to take the edge off a little when it starts to get bad.
Yeah, which was my idea.
Okay, well,
anyone whose birthday coming up soon, that's almost everybody around here.
Yeah, that's a
Not
whole bunch
me.
of people.
I got one
I'm
final.
a December baby.
I got one final
Mike
interesting
Sauber.
mention. Okay, I guess I don't.
Okay, what Jenny had something to say there.
My cardiologist has put my name in to be part of a research study at UW-Madison for repairing the heart from what do you call it? Congestive heart failure, CHF.
Oh, wow.
By way of stem cells.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. You know, it's a double-blind study, so I don't know if I'll actually get the real stuff or not, but she's referring
Who
me and
knows?
check my
But
record out and decide if I should be part of it.
It's worth a
I mean, it's
shot.
exciting. Either way,
Yeah.
you're helping advance
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah, it would be cool, especially if I get the real stuff and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, here's hoping. Okay, well, on that note, let's go around here. Okay, Diana, what time's your stream tomorrow night? What else have you got going on?
Okay, 7 p.m. Eastern, my stream goes on, and yeah, it'll be a birthday themed, you know, because that is my birthday tomorrow, and we'll have all sorts of fun and stuff like that, and hopefully I will have my cake baked and it will not kill me, so I can, you know, have a piece of cake on here, and yeah, Mage will be with us, I hope, and Kate will be with us, I hope, and anybody else who wants to come by, just drop a note in the Twitter group, a Lavender DM group, if you're not a member already. See if you can ring me up on Twitter, and I'll be ever so happy to add you. Stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Okay, Jenny, you got any appearances coming up or any final words?
I won't be able to make Diana's tomorrow because I have a LGBT community center meeting to attend tomorrow, and it runs from 7:30 Central to about 9:30 Central.
Okay, but that's cool. Yeah, you've been helping organize things down there.
Not this particular meeting, no.
Oh,
I'm just a sheep at this one.
well, it's not a sheep. You're being part of the community, though. Okay, Kitty, you got anything coming up?
Nothing that I know of, not really. I am trying to get more followers on TikTok so that I can do live streams on there. So, if you could follow me there, that would be great, but you don't have to. Like, it's just my random craziness. I will try to make it, as long as I'm not feeling worse than I am right now, I will try to make it to Lady Di's birthday bash tomorrow.
Oh, well, thank you.
I don't know what I have going on, but again, I'm sick, so like we'll see how it goes. But as long as I'm not feeling worse than I am now, I will definitely be there.
Now for the TikTok, is there something you have to join or something, or how does that work?
Yeah, like it's basically like Twitter but with videos. Like it's kind of hard to.
It's a cross between Twitter and YouTube. But yeah,
Yeah.
you have to set up an account on the TikTok site if you're going to comment on anything
or follow somebody. But yeah, that's
I'll
pretty
jump
much
on that
it.
today then.
Like I said, you need 1,000 followers to be able to do live streams, and I'm at like 740. So, you know, I got a little bit of a ways to go. But I'm getting there slowly but surely. Other than that, happy birthday, Purple. I'm glad that I was able to pop on for a bit and, you know, spend a little bit of time with
Purple
you
is
lovely
old.
people.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. Okay, and then to you, Mage Greybird.
Well, I'm planning on releasing another video, hopefully Monday. It's going to be on basil. I'm just, I thinned it out. I trimmed it. Shows how it's growing, and it's going to be on my channel, Gardens Happen. That's the channel in the chat there. And happy birthday, Purple.
Yeah, I'm afraid when you say basil, the herb is only like the third definition in my head dictionary here.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're thinking basil, like a basil species there, huh?
Yeah, that's I start with the basil species that the family was derived from, and then after that I'm going to basil faulty from Faulty Towers, and then I get to the herb.
Okay. Yeah, talking about the herb.
Basil Rathbone.
Wait, wasn't there a character in The Great Mouse Detective named Basil?
Yes, there was.
Yeah, see, that's what I think when I first think of it. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. The Great Mouse Detective was just mwah, so good.
I'm sure I must have seen that when I was a kid, but I don't really remember that one. Maybe I should go and watch it again. Okay, well, anyway. I will be back here Thursday night at 10 p.m.
Yay.
And probably on Saturday at 6 with the Shills. And then next week we'll be back to the regular thing of Wednesday at noon and Thursday at 10 p.m. So with that, especially today, I'd like to extend a special thanks to our moderators out there, Robert X and Titan Uranus and Doorknobhead and Ox. We had a bunch of trolls come through here tonight, and none of them lasted more than 3 seconds in the side chat. So, I really appreciate having people there watching that for me, because I can't always be watching the side chat. And then, of course, to thank all my supporters and Patreon subscribers. While we were screaming, Skitscrasher sent me another donation on PayPal.
Yay!
And again, Ox and Robert X, along with moderating, sent me something on PayPal. And Diana here, the Lavender Lady.
Who the hell is that?
Yep. Greg Hartwick, Dog, Mark Caesar, and Jyuni the Apostate. We've got a great group here, and I really appreciate all of you.
Oh, well, we love you, dear.
So, with that said, I will bid you all a good day, and we will see you on Thursday.
Yay!